There you go. All right, we're going live. 37 degrees, clear skies, sun shining down on the biggest stadium in college football on the spring afternoon in 2022. The maize and blue spotted crowd continues to pile in just 3 long months from the last time Michigan played on the turf below against their arch nemesis, the Ohio State Buckeyes, in one of the most memorable games in the long history of Michigan football. That win propelled the Wolverines to their first Big Ten Conference Championship game and first appearance in the college football playoffs. Zach Linfield here with Amir Bakhtash to my left, bringing you coverage from Michigan Stadium as the 2022 Michigan Wolverines cap their stretch of spring practices with their now annual Maize versus Blue spring game, which originated last season but was closed off to the media and the public. And I'll tell you what, Amir, it feels good to be back, and albeit the Wolverines dropped their final game of that magical campaign, the future seems nothing but bright for this program.
Yeah, there's so much buzz around the program, and we can look at the offseason. There was a lot of, speculation, turnover with the coaching staff. But, Harbaugh's here, and he's mentioned in his press conferences that he feels that this team is dangerous and ready to go. And, it's exciting to be back in the big house. That cold air, the only thing is missing is some snow and some flu cases, but we can talk about that later.
The coaches chosen to lead the teams are co-offensive coordinator and offensive line coach Sharon Moore for the Blue, and passing game coordinator and defensive back coach Steve Klingscale for the Maize. Jim Harbaugh, along with the new OC Matt Weiss and the newcomer from Vanderbilt and defensive coordinator Jesse Minter. Weiss and Moore replaced Josh Gaddis, who made a lateral move to Miami, and Minter now replaces Ravens defensive coordinator Mike Macdonald after just one season in Ann Arbor. But it sounds as if the defensive scheme will remain just about the same for Michigan's defense, Amir.
Yeah, I mean, with Mike McDonald going back to Baltimore, it kind of worked out for both parties because Minter was also a leading candidate before McDonald was hired, and Minter has mentioned how it'll just be a continuation of this defense from last year. But when you lose the edge rushers like David Ojabo and Aiden Hutchinson, that is a lot of firepower to replace on that defensive line.
To the interest of many, there will not be the quarterback battle that was expected today, as it was made to the public that sophomore quarterback and former five-star recruit J.J. McCarthy is dealing with a shoulder injury. Re-enter the senior from Reno, Nevada, Kade Mcnamara, started all 14 games for Jim Harbaugh, converting on 64% of his attempts while throwing for 15 touchdowns and just 6 interceptions. It's expected today that Kade will start for both the Maize and the Blue and contribute 2 drives to each wearing an all-white uniform compared to the all-maize and all-blue color rushes. He's got all the values of a leader, and we look forward to seeing him back in action here today.
Yeah, Kade Mcnamara started all the games last season. This is his second season where he's going to be the starter, we presume. But getting all those reps on the field today is going to be pretty big for McNamara and really on both sides of this team. And I love the color rush jerseys out there. These Maize jerseys are just so clean, and the Navy jerseys, you love to see the Maize and blue, and it just feels good to be back in the big house.
A lot of the talk this offseason is about how are they going to replace the edge presence of Aiden Hutchinson and David Ojabo? Well, that will lie on the shoulders of perhaps a couple of guys, especially Taylor Upshaw, Mike Morris, Jalen Harrell, Braden McGregor, or perhaps an inexperienced D end, name sophomore TJ Guy, or perhaps a guy that looks like an NFL ready body already in freshman Derek Moore.
Yeah, it's tough to replace anybody like Aiden Hutchinson and David Ojabo, 2 potential first round picks. We'll find out later this month, but that's a lot of production on the edges to replace. And new defensive coordinator Minter he's gonna have his hands full to figure out which player can step up. And today's a great opportunity where you can have players. This could be a breakout game for any one of them because everybody's gonna see the field.
One of the other biggest departures in the offseason was Hassan Haskins, who was cemented in Michigan history following his 5 touchdown performance against Ohio State, 20 touchdowns on the season as Michigan's early down back. However, a 2021 early season Heisman candidate in Blake Corum returns, as well as a sophomore from West Bloomfield, Donovan Edwards, who put himself on the map with a 7-catch, 170-yard mark against Maryland in College Park late in the season.
Donovan Edwards is one of those guys that I think is going to be very special for the Wolverines this upcoming season, and to continue like the tandem of the Thunder Lightning duo, I think is a real possibility with Blake Corum and Donovan Edwards. And Blake Corum got injured in the middle of the season last year, so like his Heisman hype kind of fell off right there. But Blake Corum, he looks good. He's been having a good spring ball practice. And, like I said, Donovan Edwards, a 5-star recruit from West Bloomfield, I think is going to be huge. And it's just going to be a continuation of the legacy that Hassan Haskins left. And Donovan Edwards had a full year to learn under somebody like Hassan Haskins, who was a fantastic leader for the Wolverines last year.
Down on the middle of the field right now on the big block M at the 50-yard line are the two sets of captains wearing the all maize and all blue, both teams in the winged helmets. For the Maize, the captains, tight ends Luke Schoonmaker and Joel Honingford, defensive tackle Mozzie Smith, and now cornerback Mike Sainristil wearing the big number 0 on his chest. For the Blue, it's Blake Corum, Mike Morris, Nakai Hill Green, and Ryan Hayes. So a big matchup, of course, these two teams looking for a bit of in Schembechler Hall rivalry. They hyped it up all week, and the team that wins gets a better dinner than the other. Hot dogs and burgers for one, and a nice steak for the other. So you've got to expect these guys are ready to go at each other for however long they're able to play. This roster is specialized so that a lot of the 1s and 2s only have to play 1 or 2 drives. But that's a lot of the fun of the spring game. You get to see a lot of freshmen and inexperienced guys that you haven't seen a lot of in future or past seasons, that is.
Yeah, and the spring game is great for those type of reasons, because the roster is so like there's so many people on the roster that players that probably won't see the field in the fall. This is their opportunity, and a play here and there could really change their outlook going into the fall, where they could potentially earn some more playing time.
A brisk Saturday spring afternoon in the big house in Ann Arbor. The blue team will kick off. It's Tommy Doman to boot it away. Former 5-star kicker A.J. Henning is deep to return for the Maize team, and the ball will be booted away from the 35-yard line. Number 19 in all blue set to boot it away as A.J. Henning's heels stand at the goal line. Ball's in the air. Here we go. Henning 2 fingers to the sky, and he'll allow a touchback, and here we go. Maize versus Blue. They'll begin at the 25-yard line and re-enter Kade Mcnamara. He wears all white, wearing number 12. And I'll tell you what, he's had a lot to say in the offseason about who he deserves, or who he thinks deserves that starting quarterback position, J.J. McCarthy and or Kade Mcnamara, and he simply said, I'm a Big Ten championship winning quarterback.
I love that about him, how, people on the outside come after him, but he just does his work. He doesn't care about the outside noise, just does his work, and, that's what QB1s are supposed to do.
We'll get more into the starting lineup as this drive goes on. For now, 1st and 10 from the right hash. McNamara in the shotgun. Schoonmaker in motion left to right. Here's a handoff. Donovan Edwards hitting the backfield. He makes his way towards the right sideline before the cornerback, Jamon Green, makes the stop. It's about a loss of 2 yards on the play. Donovan tried to get back to the line of scrimmage. Could not do so. We'll call it 2nd down and 12. The Maize team goes quick to the line with McNamara. They split 5 wide, 3 left, 2 right. McNamara empty in the shotgun. He gets the snap, drops to throw, looks across the middle for Edwards. It's incomplete. Hit him in the chest, and it bounced out. Joey Velasquez, the dual sport athlete, was in coverage. And I'll tell you what, Velasquez from Columbus, Ohio, he has got a bat on him. A baseball player, had a go-ahead home run against Maryland a short month ago, and he's done that twice now for the baseball team.
Yeah, you got to love dual sport athletes that can do both. And right there on that last play, just gets a fingertip, and because it was right on the numbers for Donovan Edwards.
That'll bring up 3rd down and 12. Edwards, who was in the backfield, will now shift over to the right. 3 receivers left, 2 to the right for McNamara in the shotgun. Claps his hands, receives the snap, looks long down the right sideline for Johnson, and it's incomplete. Johnson wanted the ball further down the sidelines, but McNamara threw it over to his left. Jamon Green was in coverage, so a 3 and out for the Maize team, and the Blue squad will get their chance on offense and enter a new return man. And Andrell Anthony. 3 touchdowns last season. He had the lone touchdown against Georgia in the college football playoff semifinal. And Rhett Anderson will kick it away for the Maize team. Anderson's kick is spiraling. That's a beautiful boot down to the 25. Andrell Anthony falls down and receiving it at the 18-yard line. That's Iman Dennis, so a long ways to go for the blue team.
So Andrell Anthony, for his sophomore campaign, he could be a standout wide receiver for the Wolverines. And, this whole receiving core for the Wolverines coming up in the 2022 season is going to be special, especially with the return of Ronnie Bell. Ronnie Bell getting injured last year, not able to play. He's working his way back in, but, he's a good leader, that's upperclassman leadership.
A lot of explosiveness for the blue team. They have Roman Wilson as the lone receiver split wide to the right. Anthony is left. 2 tight ends set, and the pistol is Corum. McNamara turns hands off to Corum. He's to the left side, 20 to the 22. Corum tiptoes his way to the 25-yard line, and he's marked out a little bit shy of that mark. The officials will mark him down at the 23-yard line. It's a pickup of 6, 2nd down and 4 for the blue.
Looks like Blake Corum's fully healed from his injury last year. He still's got that explosiveness, and it's gonna. When you hit Blake Corum, you got to go full on out. There is no 50% hit. You got to go full on, or else you're not going to bring him down.
5 wide receivers in the formation for McNamara. Second out of his 4 eligible drives in the spring game. He still wears all white for the blue team. McNamara looks long down the right sideline for Andrell Anthony, and it's incomplete. And there's the debut play for Mike Sainristil. He was in the coverage of Andrell Anthony and knocked it free.
That's interesting for Sainristil, how he's transitioning from wide receiver to the defensive side of the ball. And I think it's going to be a good transition. And he went up to coach and was like, Coach, wherever you want me, doesn't matter. I'll go play as long as I'm out on the field.
3rd down and 5 for the blue. We've seen a lot of empty sets on this first drive as McNamara has 3 receivers right, 2 left. Henning and Corum are the 2 skill position players out left. 5-man rush. McNamara getting blitzed and he's sacked. And that's the one quarterback they will not allow the defense to touch today as McNamara is quote-unquote sacked as Carl Grapentine, the public address announcer, says virtually sacked by Michael Barrett, the redshirt senior. And that will bring up 4th down and 15 for the blue team. They'll punt it away. Tommy Doman to A.J. Henning.
So both teams going 4 and out on their first possessions of the game.
Doman from his end zone will boot it away. Decent kick down inside Maize territory. Henning makes a catch at the 43-yard line. Minus 43 right hash going from right to left for the Maize as they will retake the offense with Kade McNamara. 2 drives so far, 1 for each team, and didn't really go anywhere. Both incurred negative gains as McNamara may already be done as Davis Warren enters the game. And I'll tell you what, they love this kid, Davis Warren. Scout team quarterback last year, won Scout team player of the week multiple times. And now he gets his chance to earn a scholarship for 5 down linemen. 2 tight ends left. Warren gets the snap from the right hash, looks across the middle for Schoonmaker at midfield, and he's dropped right in the middle of the turf by Nakai Hill Green. It's a deep tight end room, Amir. They return everybody. Luke Schoonmaker, Joel Honingford, Eric All. It is a deep room.
Oh, yeah, that on the offensive side of the ball, there's not really many question marks. As you mentioned, they have returned a lot of people. It's just the defensive side of the ball where all the questions lie.
And of course, the defense is the squad so far that's played better out of the 2. 2 receivers left, 1 wide to the right, and that includes a tight end tight. Warren from the shotgun with Leon Franklin as his back looks long left side. It's incomplete. The throw to Henning was knocked away by Jordan Morant, and that's a nice play. The junior from Parsippany, New Jersey.
Just a couple of plays on this drive. It feels like since Kade McNamara has gone out, the guy's like, okay, now we can play a little bit more legit, is what it feels like.
0-0 ball game. One drive for each so far. Maize on their second. 9:21 remaining here in the first quarter. A full four-quarter game in the spring game. Maize versus Blue. Ball currently at the 50. It's 3rd down and 4 for the Maize as Davis Warren is empty in the shotgun. 3 left, 2 right. Warren gets the snap, drops to throw. Long down the left sideline for Edwards. He brought it in at the 12-yard line. What a catch by number 7. Nakai Hill Green asks for a push-off, but that is a nice catch by Donovan Edwards and a better pass from Davis Warren.
Yeah, what a pass by Warren right there. It just lays it into the breadbasket for Donovan Edwards. If he doesn't get tripped up, he's in for 6.
39 yards on the play. A beautiful pass from Warren to Edwards. And the Maize, the mark is the 11-yard line, so they'll have 11 yards to go. They can still pick up a first down. Lots of empty sets so far in this game. A little bit of confusion for the Maize team on defense. A throw across the middle is dropped by A.J. Henning. And the confusion came from the 5-star freshman, Will Johnson. And he ended up making the play as he hurried across the defensive formation.
Will Johnson has looked fantastic, hasn't he, in the spring practice so far? And coaches have mentioned like he is gonna compete for a position this fall.
Cornerback room that lost Vincent Gray but returned Jamon Green and DJ Turner, who are the expected starters. But Will Johnson joined the team during their bowl prep, practiced with the team, was not eligible to play as Henning comes in motion. Here's a handoff, Edwards left side. Edwards jukes down to the 10-yard line, Laundry on the field, and he is shoved out of bounds by Taylor Upshaw. We'll have to see what the flag is. Big Ten officiating crew working today. And the holding penalty goes against the center. That's Olu Oluwatimi, the graduate transfer from Virginia, Remington Award finalist. And man, what a big pickup is getting Oluwatimi for this offensive line who lost Andrew Vastardis. And man, he was an All-American, played great, former walk-on. But now Olu takes his spot, and he's expected to be the starter this upcoming year. 2nd down and 20 from the 21-yard line. Davis Warren from the shotgun, Leon Franklin to his left. 1 tight end set, 2 receivers right, 1 left. Warren across the middle, got it to Henning, 10-yard line. He works his way to the left. Henning cuts it upfield at the 8-yard line down to the 7, and R.J. Moten finally stops him. But that's a nice pass again from Davis Warren. He has hit nothing but the numbers.
There was a lot of heat behind that one. Even A.J. Henning was like, oh man, look at that come up through here. But he secures it, and the Maize team is now at the 7-yard line.
They'll have 6 yards to go on 3rd down from the 7. Donovan Edwards is the back for Davis Warren. He'll now split out wide to the right. A bunch formation. Edwards now joins him. 1 receiver left is Cornelius Johnson. Warren will go that way, and he overthrew him. And coverage was Will Johnson. Johnson on Johnson crime. Pass was incomplete. It'll bring up 4th down and 6. And that'll bring on the kick team. And that includes J.J. McCarthy, who will be holding for Red Anderson today. So J.J. McCarthy will get a bit of action, just not the kind that a lot of fans want to see. From the 15-yard line. Kick is up, and it is good for Red Anderson. So the Maize team leads the Blue 3-0, 7:36 to go here in the first quarter. And that is a good drive, captained by Davis Warren, who entered for Kade Mcnamara. And it's safe to say 2 pretty stale drives under McNamara, but a good one under Davis Warren.
Yeah, that drive by Warren was fantastic. You know, he was able to move the ball around, and I loved that throw to Donovan Edwards down the sideline, just putting it into the breadbasket. There's no other way to put it, right there, and then that put him in the red zone, and it's capped off with a field goal.
The Maize team will be set to boot it away to the Blue. 2 return men are deep for the Blue squad. That's Roman Wilson and the freshman receiver Darius Clemens. They are really high on this kid. He wears number 0 in blue. Four-star prospect from Portland, Oregon, Westview High School. Stands at 6'3", 205, but he looks like he is a college-ready wide receiver. Brett Anderson, a slow walk up and toes the leather, and away it goes. Wilson will call for a fair catch down at the 5-yard line, and the blue team will take over at the 25. First down and 10 with Kade Mcnamara as their quarterback.
So McNamara, those first 2 possessions, he just went back and forth. So that third drive, he was able to sit out, catch his breath. Now let's see how he does after, like, more of like a game type simulation where he was able to be on the sidelines as the other team was driving.
So perhaps the final time that we will see Kade Mcnamara in this football game. 5 down linemen for the Blue, 7:36 to play in the first quarter. Maize leads it 3-0. A tight formation. McNamara hands off up the middle to Corum. Corum to the 30, Corum to the 35. He's got space down the sideline to the 40, 42, and he's brought out of bounds by Makari Page. That's by far the longest gain in the game so far for the Blue, to the 43-yard line.
Yeah, that's the first positive drive as both teams were negative on rushing yards. Blake Corum, what does he have on Encore for this type of season?
McNamara will be from the shotgun. 5 down linemen, 2 receivers to each side. That includes the tight end Eric All, who is wide on the right side. He comes in motion to the left. Here's a handoff to Corum. Corum back to the line of scrimmage at the 43 and brought down immediately. TJ Guy on the stop. To bring up second down and 10. And the blue team has a stacked offensive line, at least for their starters. Ryan Hayes, Trevor Keegan, Zach Zinter, Giovanni El Hadi, and Carson Barnhart. They're still in there right now. They join wide receivers Anthony Wilson and Clemens. Their running back remains Blake Corum. The tight end is Eric All. McNamara across the middle looking for All. It's incomplete. He threw the ball a tad behind him. 2 men in coverage, Barrett and Colson. That'll bring up 3rd and 10.
So Eric All, whenever his name pops up, you just got to think about Penn State and how that catch really saved the Wolverines. We were on that call down there in Happy Valley, Zach, and Eric All. That's whenever I hear his name, I'm always going to associate him with Happy Valley.
McNamara claps his hands. He does not get the snap. Looks over to the blue team sideline. 3 receivers left, 1 to the right. Blake Corum is the running back off the right hip of McNamara from the 43. Donovan Edwards on the far sideline quickly runs in front of the referee and points to the play clock, which was at 0 timeout blue team. That's their first. Sharon Moore had to sprint down the sideline to call it. Three nothing ball game. Maize leads the Blues. 6:15 to play here in the first quarter. It's 3rd down and 10. Right hash for McNamara and the Blue. Blake Corum will remain in the game as the running back. Clemens is the lone wide receiver to the right. Their safety help over the top if Keyshawn Harris needs it, as he's in lone coverage. And here's a flag. It looks like they're going to get the Blue for a false start. And that's the veteran Trevor Keegan jumping off sides. And this is a experienced offensive line, to say the least. Graduate Ryan Hayes at left tackle. The left guard is Trevor Keegan. He's a senior. Zach Zinter is a junior. And Carson Barnhart over at right tackle is a senior. And then perhaps the future of the offensive line, Giovanni El Hadi, the sophomore, is at right guard. McNamara splits 2 to each side. Has Corum as his running back from the 38-yard line. He dumps it off to Corum at the 45. Man, did he shake Mike Barrett, and he's down at the 47-yard line. Not close to the first down marker. They need about 7 more. That'll bring up 4th down. And that'll bring on the punt unit from the 47-yard line. And this is one of the fun things, Amir, about the spring game is there is a lot of trickery up the sleeves of these coaches, Clinkscale and Moore. Looks like Tommy Doman will boot this one away. Coffin corner type kick down to Henning at the 9. He calls for a fair catch, and that's where the Maize will begin as they have a 3-0 lead. 5:34 remaining in the first quarter. Not much action so far besides that Davis Warren to Donovan Edwards 39-yard pitch and catch.
So far, the special teams have looked the best for both sides of the ball.
And on the big board here at the big house, they just highlighted new defensive line coach Mike Elston, who made a move from Notre Dame over to Michigan.
That was a huge pickup for the Wolverines in
Great
terms of coaching staffs.
There's a heavy pistol formation in the backfield. Donovan Edwards is to the right of McNamara, but behind him is A.J. Henning. McNamara will throw out of the backfield to Henning, who is met immediately by Mike Morris. Man, did he make a great play. No gain on the play. It'll bring up 2nd down and 10.
Mike Morris is one of those other names that's been mentioned that is going to have to, fill in for Hutchinson and Ojabo. And I don't think there's one single person that's going to be able to fill in those shoes. It's going to be like a committee style to make up for that lost production.
2nd down and 10 from the right hash. McNamara has Edwards to his left. Mike Sainristil is in on offense. He'll now join the backfield. 2 running backs off the left and right hips. McNamara sends Sainristil in motion, hands off Edwards up the middle, and he's met after a gain of 2. Mason Graham and Derek Moore on the stop. The defensive line for the blue team playing really well. Not much going on the ground for the Maize. They have just 1 rush yard on the game. It's 3rd down and 8. And I can see how the Maize is perhaps strategically using Kade McNamara now that they have the lead. Ball from the 12-yard line. McNamara shotgun. Edwards hangs out to his right. McNamara throws across the middle. It's complete to A.J. Henning, but he's shy of the first down by a yard to the 19. They needed the 20.
What do we see? Do they go for it? Is Harbaugh going to be aggressive?
Now, this would be all Steve Clinkscale if he decided to do this. Then they're going to bring on the punt team, and Red Anderson and Angel Anthony will make his way back to the opposite 40-yard line.
We could see a fake right here. You never know.
Man, would that be risky. Anything for the stakes. Anderson to boot it away. He retrieves it at the 5. A spiraling kick, end over end, that Anthony catches at the minus 41-yard line. The blue team will take over. 1st down and 10. And it will more than likely be a new quarterback trotting his way out for the blue team. Alan Bowman is expected to be the 2nd man in line, and there he is, number 15, the graduate senior and transfer from Texas Tech. That was a good addition by Jim Harbaugh. It was thought that Bowman would be in the running for the starting quarterback position last year before eventually taken over by J.J. McCarthy and, of course, Kade McNamara listed as the starter. He's in the shotgun here, middle of the field at the 42-yard line. Corum is his back to the left. 3 receivers right. Handoff. Corum on a stretch handoff. He gets to the 40, and he's down right around the line of scrimmage. Maybe a pickup of 1, but a whole group of Maize defenders made the stop, led by Junior Colson.
So you mentioned how Bowman transferred in from Texas Tech, which was initially was kind of like a surprise that he transferred in because just how deep this quarterback room is. And, that's a good thing to have when you have your 1st, 2nd, and even 3rd quarterbacks be, competing for the start.
Upside, and there's a quick throw out to Wilson. Makes his way to the 45, cuts it up to the sideline, and he's tackled by Junior Colson again, and he will be a big-time player in the linebacking core for Michigan this season with Josh Ross departing. He passed up a couple of guys in front of him on the depth chart, and the sophomore from Tennessee looks to have a massive year for Michigan.
Yeah, we've mentioned the offensive line, but also when you look at the linebackers, Josh Ross was a fantastic linebacker, but an even better leader on that defensive side of the ball for the Wolverines last season. So seeing who can step up for them this year is going to be an interesting question.
Bowman hands off to Corum, cuts it upfield at the 50, breaks away from a tackler, and the referee officially makes the stop. Junior Colson, however, will be tabbed with the tackle. But man, was Corum trying to get away from that official, and he just stood right in the way and took it. Nonetheless, first down for the blue team.
Does the official get credit for the tackle?
We'll have to check in our scorebook here.
Let's check the official stat book there.
Oh, no, they gave it to Makari Page and Junior Colson. Nonetheless, 1st and 10 from the 42 going in. Ball still in the middle of the field. Not much under center action so far today, but Bowman is under center here. Turns to his right, hands off to Corum, who's gotten a lot of the workload today. He gets to the 40. That's a pickup of 2. 2nd down and 8. TJ Guy makes the stop for the Maize. Now under 1:30 to play in the first quarter, Maize leads it 3-0. As Jim Harbaugh enters the offensive huddle, man, I'm sure he wishes he could still have some eligibility and play, don't you?
You know, we could potentially see him throw. You never know. It is a spring game.
Bowman under center, but no running back in the backfield. Corum now comes in motion from right to left. Quick throw to Eric Gull, and he's going to try to throw down the sideline for Colston Loveland. He's got it inside the 15. Man, can Eric Gull apparently throw the football.
So we were talking about Harbaugh, but little did we know that it was actually going to be Eric Gull that was going to be quarterback on that last play right there. You know, it was a great play. Bowman throws it out to Eric Gull on the sideline and just throws it down, gets the blue team into the red zone.
The blue goes fast inside the 10, handoff Corum right up the middle. He's trying to look for some kind of space. And I think just diving down to the 7 was his best option. We'll give the tackle credit to the man on the ground getting up last, Rayshawn Benny on the stop. And the reception went to Colston Loveland. He was recruited all the way from Gooding, Idaho, the 4-star tight end, 6'5", 230. That is a big tight end. And they loved this kid early throughout spring practice. Bowman goes under center again, one receiver wide right, and now in motion from the left to the right goes Anthony. Here's a handoff to Tavier Dunlap at the 5, grinding his legs down to the 3-yard line, and he's brought down by the interior D-line again. Rayshawn Benny once again on the stop for the Maize.
So Zach, what type of stakes are we talking about? What win?
Whatever the nutrition department's willing to give them. That's the end of the first quarter. We'll head to the second. Scores 3-0 Maize, and they'll have the ball at the 3-yard line after the break.
With the blue knocking on the door, the Maize, they're playing tough. It's almost like, are we talking like Ruth Chris steak or like?
I don't know where they're getting their meat from, but I know they're cooking it right outside at Schembeckler Hall. So if you're walking by and you smell steak, that's probably why. So we're going to talk about this first quarter real quick as we go to a quick break in the action. 3-0 Maize. Amir, who has impressed you the most so far for the Blue Squad?
For the Blue Squad, I would say, I mean, Blake Corum's really taken the load for the running backs. And, you know, those first couple of drives have been tough for any team to get anything going. You know, they were negative yardage for rushing. Now the blue team's up to 32 yards on the ground. Maize with only 1. So I'd say I'd give credit to Blake Corum. He's my MVP in that first quarter.
And of course, we got to talk about the Maize as well. Who's your MVP for the Maize?
For the Maize, AJ Hennings made a couple of plays. Donovan Edwards, I'll go with Donovan Edwards. So I'll give it to the running back room because Donovan Edwards had the catch down the sideline, but we can also do somebody on the defensive side of the ball and Junior Colson at linebacker. You know, we talked about how Josh Ross graduated, and, you know, Junior Colson could be those type of players that takes over for Josh Ross this upcoming season.
And you've got to think, if we're looking across the board, and this is going to be pure looking into the future for the starting lineup, you got to figure it's probably going to be Ryan Hayes, Trevor Keegan, Olu Oluwatimi, Zach Zinter, and more than likely Trente Jones, who was used as a 6 offensive lineman last year. Kade Mcnamara or J.J. McCarthy at quarterback. Then you look at the receivers. You've got to hope Ronnie Bell's ready for the season. Andrell Anthony, Roman Wilson, Cornelius Johnson will obviously be a starter. And then tight ends, you've got Schoonmaker, Eric All, running backs, Edwards and Corum. You just go through that, and you can go over and over through these guys and be like, man, we are so glad we have this guy. But it seems to be all 11 for the offense that the Wolverines seem pretty lucky to have back.
Yeah, and we can talk about all those big guys on the outside, wide receivers, running back, but it all starts with that offensive line, and having more than half of them return and have experience starting is going to be huge for the Wolverines, because otherwise your J.J. McCarthy's and Kade McNamara's of the world won't have time to throw it out to your Cornelius Johnsons or A.J. Hennings on the outside.
Well, as we begin the second quarter, 12 minutes even, 3-0 Maize, but the Blue is knocking on the door from the 3. On 3rd down and 3. Lots of 3s for the Blue. Alan Bowman shotgun. Tavier Dunlap is the deep back. Lou Hansen is the fullback. Handoff. Dunlap up the middle. That's a Blue touchdown. Well done by the offensive line. We talked about that earlier, that the Blue team has a great offensive line, and man, did they get a superb push to put Tavier Dunlap into the end zone.
What was that celebration down there in the end zone by the Maize team? They're just having fun out there, seeing the Blue team pound it in right there. It reminded me so much of the Ohio State game. And when Hassan Haskins, one of those 5 touchdowns that he was able to score in that end zone in front of the student section.
Tommy Doman's kick is up, and it is good. And into the stands it goes. Blue leads it 7-3, 11:55 to go in the second quarter. And that was an impressive drive from the Blue. They ran it pretty much the whole time. A couple quick throws from Alan Bowman, but beside that, nothing much through the air. Well done by the offensive line.
Right now, I'm just looking at the stands to see how far that football goes, but looks like it's going to make its way back down onto the field.
The Blue team will be set to kick it away to the Maize. It looks like Tommy Doman will probably be booting it to A.J. Henning. And the best throw on that last drive didn't even come from the quarterback. It came from the tight end, Eric All. We saw that a couple times last year. Mike Barrett on the ball reversal to the far side to A.J. Henning on the kickoff return for a touchdown at Maryland. And then Donovan Edwards pass in the Big Ten championship game to Roman Wilson. I don't know. Do they try to recruit these kids and see if they can throw the football in their opposite positions? I don't know.
They just be like, yo, we know you could run the ball, but can you really throw the ball? Can you be one of our 6th or 7th quarterbacks down on the depth chart?
A.J. Henning retrieved the fair catch at the 8-yard line, and the Maize will begin at the 25.
Donovan Edwards, you just mentioned the Big Ten championship game throw. So that was his only throw, or what was his QBR last year?
Whatever perfect is.
Perfect. I'm sure in the locker room he was mentioning that a lot to the quarterbacks.
Maize team has it. 1st down and 10, 25-yard line right in the middle of the hashes. Davis Warren will be the quarterback. And there's Khalil Mullings in the backfield. The linebacker hands off Mullings up the middle. He's to the 30-yard line, and he drives his legs down to up to the 32. Good gain on the play. They've used him a lot in spring practice, trying to figure out a way for Michigan to get a pure power back. If they need 1 yard, who are they going to go to? Donovan Edwards and Blake Corum. They're not small. Davis Warren will look long down the right sideline on the 2nd down play. Intended for Johnson, no flag. German green in coverage. That'll bring up 3rd down and 3.
A little bit of contact there by Green. I'm surprised there was no flag. Referee's letting him play.
Third down and 3. Warren will remain the quarterback for the Maize team. J.J. McCarthy continues to shuffle up and down that sideline. I'm sure he wants to be in there.
Yeah, I can only imagine how bad he's itching to get out on the field and, make some throws.
3 receivers right, 1 left. Warren sends Franklin in motion. Warren will keep it, and he cannot get away from the outstretched arms of George Rooks. It'll depend on the spot. It's really close. I think it's going to be 4th and about half a yard from the 34-yard line. And look at that. Immediately, Khalil Mullings comes into the game. So I think that tells you a bit about what Jim Harbaugh wants to see out of this kid. Is Mullings, that is a big body.
Yeah, Mullings 6'1", 236. Just pure muscle out there.
Power formation for the Maize. 1 tight end left, 1 tight end right. Johnson is the lone receiver. They'll hand off Mullings. He dives forward and gets the first down. Man, was that a head full of steam. He ran right into the back of Olu Oluwatimi. But he got the first down to pick up of 3 up to the 37-yard line. First down, Maize. This blue defense has a couple of playmakers on it, including perhaps the future edge rushers for this team, Jalen Harrell, Taylor Upshaw, and Mike Morris. Also, Derek Moore, who's currently in the game. Warren sends a man in motion, hands off Mullings left side. Mullings got speed to the 40, to the 45, 50. Mullings inside opposing territory, and he's out of bounds at the 43-yard line. That's a nice run, and he points forward. Yes, Khalil, that is a first down. Nakai Hill Green pushes him out.
So not only is Mullings built and strong, he's got some speed to him right there as he gets out to the edge.
Davis Warren continues to captain this drive. He has Leon Franklin as his running back to the left. Senior from Southfield, Michigan. Warren has 10 on the play clock, 9:30 to go here in the second quarter. The score is 7-3 Blue. Warren from the gun looks far to the right side, complete to Cornelius Johnson, who skips a step, and he's out of bounds. Depending on the spot, it looks like the 26-yard line is the spot. And that'll be another Maize first down. Not many quarterbacks can make that throw. However, Davis Warren apparently is one of them. J.J. McCarthy's done that plenty, where he throws all the way across the field and right into the numbers of his receiver. Beautiful pass by Warren.
Yeah.
That last play is a pickup of 17 to Johnson.
I really like the way he's playing out there, Warren. Specifically, this is his second drive, and he's really navigating the offense.
He fakes the snap. He'll settle in the shotgun. Franklin to his left. Warren throws long left side. It's incomplete. And right as we say that, he throws the same exact pass, and it's incomplete this time. And it was almost intercepted by the freshman Micah Pollard, intended for Cornelius Johnson. To bring up second down and 10. Blue team has a couple of talented linebackers that we're excited to see this coming year. Nakai Hill Green, perhaps Joey Velasquez, and Jaden Hood, who did not get much time last year. He's currently standing at the middle linebacker position right now as Warren gets the snap, drops to throw. Looks across the middle, got it to Johnson at the 20, Johnson to the 15, and he rolls down to the 10-yard line. Mike Morris made the stop. And the Maize team, a good drive right here. 3 straight passes intended toward Cornelius Johnson, 2 out of the 3 being converted. First and goal from the 10.
Yeah, the Maize now they have that was the 8th play, 65 yards. Just a dominant possession so far.
Davis Warren is under center. The deep back is Leon Franklin. 2 tight ends to the right. He'll hand off Franklin straight out of the backfield. He gets to the 9-yard line. No whistle quite yet. And he'll be brought down by the safety R.J. Moat. A gain of 1 yard on the play. It'll bring up second down and goal from the 9. And I'm excited to see this as Khalil Mullings checks back into the game as the running back. You know what I'd like to see out of him? I'd like to see a pitch or a sweep to the left side into open field and see if he can get that edge around Jalen Harrell, who's had a great offseason for Michigan. He's in the blue uniform, and Davis Warren will hand off to Mullings up the middle. He gets to the 5 before he's stone cold stopped by the blue defense. Caden Colasar, special teams ace, the first one on the stop.
So Zach, tell us a little bit more about Mullings and like his background for us.
Well, Mullings came in to school as a big body, recruited as a linebacker, and he's had to wait his turn. He's had to be really patient. Now, he still is a linebacker for Michigan, and he will probably get some time this season. However, the coaching staff really wanted to see what they perhaps saw as a shining star in Mullings out of the backfield. With the loss of Hassan Haskins, they wanted a power back, and it seems as if they may have him. Warren from the shotgun will look for Mullings, and he caught it at the 5-yard line, a pickup of 1. The ball's loose on the ground. Cornelius Johnson scoops it up, and he's into the end zone for a Maize touchdown. So I don't know if that's cheating. I don't know if that's luck, but it works out. Cornelius Johnson recovered the fumble and scored the touchdown.
Only in spring ball do we see that.
The white hat official. Are we going to hear a word or two from him? What do you think? Reviews in the spring game or no?
There you go. There's your answer.
And the crowd that's here, they're around 30,000 or so, all boo in unison.
Yeah, a decent crowd out here tonight, or today, this afternoon.
As it stands, it would be an 11-play, 75-yard touchdown drive by the Maize, capped by a 0-yard pass to Khalil Mullings, recovered by Cornelius Johnson, who ran it 5 yards in, and he was down right at the goal line. I wonder if they're reviewing whether or not Mullings was down or whether or not Johnson was down, because he met George Rooks right at the left side by the sideline in the end zone, pretty much right at the white line on the goal line.
So they're taking their time to look at this review, so it could be a little bit of both.
And not only is it the spring game practice for the football teams, I suppose it's also practice for the men in stripes. There's currently 6:24 remaining in the second quarter. So the call was that Khalil Mullings was down at the 3-yard line, and the offense will remain on the field from the 3. Rhett Anderson was on the field, and he will now retreat back to the sideline. So Davis Warren, the walk-on sophomore from California, will try to engineer a touchdown here. 4th down and goal as their team trails by 4, 7-3, with 6:15 to go in the second quarter. 7 men right on the line for the defense. 2 tight ends in for the Maize team. Davis Warren gets the snap, rolls out to the right side, and it is incomplete, knocked away by German Green. And so it looked like a touchdown for the Maize, turns into a turnover, and the Blue will take over from the -3.
So Green now making a couple of plays. That last play right there, keeping the Maize team out of the end zone, and then earlier getting a good stop. So, but it's on the 3-yard line with the Maize. Did they risk it? Do they try to go, or do they kick the field? Or it's a turnover on downs.
It'll be 1st down and 10 for the Blue from the 3. Alan Bowman will remain the quarterback. To his left is Tavier Dunlap. He gets the call up the middle, a gain of 1. Tripped over the defender, Chris Jenkins, who looks to have a big-time year for the Wolverines, as he'll step in place of Christopher Hinton, who left early for the draft. They were hoping they might get Donovan Jeter back. However, it doesn't look like that will happen for Michigan. You figure Mozzie Smith and Chris Jenkins will be the men in the middle. And then you can have your pick of two on the outside, whether that be Mike Morris, Jalen Harrell, Taylor Upshaw, or Braden McGregor. Angelo Anthony in motion right to left. Here's a handoff to the right side as Dunlap cuts it back to the 5-yard line. Not much. Pickup of 2. And Chris Jenkins again on the stop.
Talk to us a little bit about Mozzie Smith. He's also been one of those players that's been mentioned a lot that could have a standout season.
He's a big body in the middle. He'll play a lot like Donovan Jeter did, but he is a big-time run stuffer. He's not the size of Georgia's Jordan Davis, who will go in the first round of the draft this year, but he's a smart player. He knows when to clog gaps when he has to, and he's a good pass rusher given the opportunity one-on-one. For now, it's 3rd and 7 for the Blue. Bowman in the shotgun. Dunlap to his right. Bowman looks right side. It's incomplete. He threw it well off to the right side of Darius Clemens, and that'll bring up 4th down and 7. There's a quick 3 and out. Picked up 3 yards on the drive, and that was it. Albeit the Maize trailing 7-3 with 4:35 to play in the second quarter. They're outgaining the Blue team by 56 yards so far in this game. Tommy Doman to punt it away for the Blue. Standing in between the C and the H in the end zone. And he will kick it to A.J. Henning. It's a beautiful kick to the -40. Henning will not return it, but he makes the grab at the numbers on the far sideline. 1st down and 10 for the Maize. 4:28 to play. 7-3 Blue. Inside Michigan Stadium. I'll tell you what, it feels good to be back. Now, the crowd isn't as packed as it will be on September 3rd against Colorado State, but you've got to figure they're excited for the season, and when they put their starters together, this team is going to be hard to stop, especially for opposing defenses.
Yeah, and Michigan, they're going to have a favorable schedule to start. They're going to have 8 home games. Their first road test is going to be October 1st when they head out to Iowa for a rematch of the Big Ten championship game. And, they've always struggled out there.
Last time the Wolverines went to Iowa City, back in 2016, Keith Duncan hit a walk-off field goal to knock off the then number 2 ranked Wolverines. Warren from the shotgun steps up. He'll roll out to his left. He'll run. He'll get 2 yards before George Rooks closes in on him. That'll bring up 2nd down and 8. Warren has the ability to run, although more of a pocket passer. He will run. And out of the scout team quarterbacks that are typically the guys that will run for Michigan, he ended up transferring. His name was Dan Volari. He ended up at Syracuse. He'll have a good chance to be the starter for the Orange. Just never happened to find his place in Ann Arbor. Warren looking for some kind of playing time in the regular season this year. Franklin has his back. He hands off to him. Up the middle, Jaden Hood makes first contact, and Franklin rumbles all the way up to the 47-yard line. He'll need 3 on 3rd down. Gain of 5. 3rd down and 3. Blue team up front currently has George Rooks, Jalen Harrell, Mason Graham, and Derek Moore. We want to highlight the matchup down on the bottom. It's Johnson and Johnson, Cornelius and Will. Cornelius, the senior receiver, and Will Johnson, the 5-star cornerback from Detroit. Here's a throw out to the right side for Warren. As A.J. Henning, it's complete for a 1st down, and Caden Colasar pushes him out of bounds. They'll spot it at the 48-yard line in plus territory. 1st down for the Maize.
Yeah, the Maize, while they are down on the scoreboard, they've been moving the ball a lot better than the Blue team.
104 passing yards. They have almost doubled the yardage in this ball game so far. 2:30 to play in the second quarter. There's a flag down, and I think they're going to get the Maize team for an illegal substitution as Cornelius Johnson ran off the field late. We'll wait for the call from the official. And the call ended up being that the Maize used their first timeout of the half before the substitution occurred, so the flag is no more. It'll still be first down and 10 from the 48-yard line inside blue territory for the Maize team. Davis Warren remains the quarterback. Two tight ends in the formation for the Maize team as they finally break the huddle. Lou Hansen and Joel Honingford over to the left. Receivers are Senior Still and Henning over to the right. In motion comes Henning. He gets the flip pass, and Henning makes his way to the 45. Jamon Green makes the stop after a couple extra yards on the yak. Gets a gain of 6. Bring up second down and 4. Combination tackle of Green and Moten. And I love those kind of plays because that is easily a way to just stat pad a little bit. Davis Warren, he gets a completion. And A.J. Henning, that's a reception rather than a rush. Warren brings Honingford in motion. He turns stretch handoff to the left for Franklin, and he is met by R.J. Moten in the hole, but not after he got to the secondary. That's a gain of 5. First down and 10 for the Maize, down to the 36-yard line.
So, Zach, also, what about Franklin? Because we're seeing him also getting reps now, too. How's he looked in spring ball?
It's first down and 10 right after this as Franklin will be blocking as Warren completely overthrows and almost threw it into the stands. It's second down and 10. Looked like simply a throwaway as Mike Sainer still was over in the area. And this is kind of just the area in the spring game where we're going to see a lot of the reserve players, the 3s, 4s, and 5s, get a lot more of their opportunity. And Franklin was the first deep depth guy to get handoffs in blowout games last season. And it helps that he's a senior, would be why he's getting a lot of the action. Behind him on the depth chart today are Danny Hughes, Henry Donahue. Two guys that don't see a lot of action. May be able to play in special teams a bit in 2022 as Franklin will get the handoff here. He ranges around the left end to the 35 and he zooms out of bounds at the 34-yard line. Pickup of 2, it'll be third down and 8. Pushing him out of bounds was George Rooks and Jamon Green. An action-filled sports day, especially here in Michigan, the spring football game. A doubleheader against Iowa over at Ray Fisher Stadium, which you can catch on the WCBN Sports 2 channel on YouTube. And men's lacrosse playing a big-time game against Maryland. Third down and 8. Here's another handoff to Franklin. He jukes his way past the 30, and he's down to the 25-yard line. That's enough for a first down. That's a fantastic run by Leon Franklin. 9 yards on the play. Good enough for a Maize first down.
Yeah, Leon Franklin staying in between the middle right there and just going right, left, juking through the middle, getting the first down, keeping the chains moving for the Maize team as they look to get their first touchdown of the game.
Davis Warren now 8 of 15, 103 yards. Leon Franklin, 5 carries for 23. In motion, left to right goes Henning. Here's another handoff to Franklin to the 25. A shifty little move makes his way to the 23. And Nakai Hill Green ends up making the tackle. Second down and 8 for the Maize team as Davis Warren will ask for a substitute as Franklin will head off. And here comes Khalil Mullings again. 4 carries, 36 yards so far today. He's got the longest carry of the game at 21 yards. And that's exciting. You mentioned that, the fact that he has the speed to do that. He'll split out wide to the right on this play. 3 receivers, including Mullings over to the right, 2 tight ends left. Warren gets the snap, drops the throw, looking towards the right side for Johnson. He's got him at the 15. Cuts his way up the field to the 12-yard line, and I think Mullings was out there as a blocker, but he fell down. And Johnson still made the most of what he had. Timeout, Maize team, 20 seconds to play in the second quarter before we head to halftime. And Maize now has 187 yards of total offense compared to the Blues' 83. And if I told you that, you'd be like, all right, Maize team probably up something like 14-0. That's not the case. 7-3 Blue team, they have one touchdown. Maize almost had a touchdown that was reviewed and reversed, where Khalil Mullings made the catch. He fumbled, and Cornelius Johnson scurried into the end zone for a Maize touchdown, but it ended up being called back because Mullings' calf was on the ground.
Yeah, it was such a weird play. And we mentioned would they review it? Would they not? They did review it. But I mean, when you look at the stats, I mean, you just mentioned it, time of possession, Maize has 11 minutes and 17 seconds. Blue team only 8:15, but yet Blue is still leading. And then Maize is also up in all the categories. They've had 9 first downs so far in this first half.
Leon Franklin returns as the running back. 2 receivers split out to each side. First down and 10 from the 12. 20 seconds to play in the second quarter. Handoff Leon Franklin right side, and he is tackled by first contact. That's George Rooks. And then he was finished by Joey Velasquez. A loss of a yard at 2nd and 11 as the clock ticks. 10 seconds to play. Davis Warren's got to get the line set. And the Maize team will use their final timeout. So this will be the last play of the half. And you'd figure it'd probably be smart to go into the half down just 1 compared to 4.
Yeah,
That took a long time for them to call. You figure they would have called a timeout immediately and taken a shot at the end zone.
that's what I was thinking too. I mean, they let about 10 seconds run off. We saw the Maize team kind of rush to the line of scrimmage, try to get that ball down. You would have liked to see him call a timeout with like 10 seconds left and just do one ball in the air and then roughly have about the same amount of time left that there is now with like 3 to 4 seconds to kick that field goal.
The kicking unit will be on the field. It's Rhett Anderson. J.J. McCarthy's knee is set down at the 21-yard line. Ball at the 13 as Anderson's kick is up away, and it is good. End of the first half. Blue leads it 7-6. And I'll tell you what, it seems a little one-sided. Maize 186 total yards compared to Blues 83, yet they're trailing by 1 point. And the stakes are on the line over at Schembechler Hall after this game for these two teams. And yeah, they're chirping back and forth as they go into the tunnel. Michigan against Michigan. Amir, I got to go back. We asked you at the break in the first quarter, who's impressed you a lot out of these two teams so far compared to others?
For the Maize team, I'll say Mullings. He's really like, we talked about how he's gone from like, is he transitioning from like linebacker to running back, being that dual threat, seeing him be really good for the Maize team and, getting yards for them. He's shown some speed. He's a big guy. He's shown speed. But if you look at the Blue team, they didn't really have much possession of the ball. So it's kind of tough to figure one out. I guess I'll throw this one to you, and how about you give us an MVP from the Blue team?
Oh, from the Blue team. I mean, I'm going to have to probably give it to their line. Just a line in general. They've been solid today. And we're looking on defense. It's going to be a surprise pick for me. I'm going to go with George Rooks. He's been in on almost every single tackle. Nakai Hill Green's another name I could throw in there. They have been very impressive on the defensive end when given the opportunity. However, Maize team, they've been great on defense as well. They've only allowed 86 yards in the first half. And that's thanks a lot to Junior Colson and the up front guys, Mozzie Smith and Rayshawn Benny. And of course, Chris Jenkins as well. Colin Kaepernick will be tossing some balls around at halftime to some free agent wide receivers. We're not sure who those are, but Kaepernick will be the one throwing it around. We'll take a break here on WCBN FM Ann Arbor, and we will be back for the second half of action here in the Michigan football spring game in 2022. The score, Blue Team 7, Maize Team 6. We'll see you in just a little bit. I want to know who the receivers are. I think Amendola is up by the 40.
Like mentioned in practice,
I haven't been to practice in 3 weeks. I'm calling games. Oh.
Just a second. Like, you know what it sucks being the left?
Get the damn camera out the way. For like their media team, they're doing a like documentary on.
So after the game, are they doing to the public at Shumbus or all just like players?
Gosh, players.
What's that signing event?
Oh, maybe that's the. I don't know. Honestly, I've been really out of the mood. I've been doing so much else that I haven't been able to focus on football.
If you they talked about the fall if you were, we said it might have like an extended role, or is they're gonna miss like save
For WCBO.
we'll see.
No, no, I'm taking less of a role.
Unless yeah.
That way I can focus on doing this kind of stuff.
It's up with the summer gig. I saw your tweet. No, was that a joke to still have a job or?
Yeah, that's a joke. Yeah, that was my supervisor. He's chill as hell. He posted he's super funny. He posted that as an April Fool's joke.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know, that's the one.
I feel like somebody played the show with me yesterday, but I don't really know if it is or isn't because like somebody just like put like a note on the car telling me that like if I haven't called this number and if they don't see my parking pass or something, they're gonna tow my car.
Yeah.
And like I can't tell.
Up at your apartment.
Yeah. So like, because I park like I don't park at Marcy. I'm like behind Fountain Green in this like one house, and I haven't parked in past and everything like that. So it's kind of weird.
He's kind of funny, like shit. He's got a rocket attached to him. It's just not accurate at all. Look at the managers doing their job.
I see that should be fun from the broadcast perspective. You can tap in some of the road names. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm on the big
If they play J. Cole, he's done. His favorite cookies and hash. Oh, let's go. Torkelson Bay starting opening day lineup.
Kind of sucks with red and green being a full injury now. That's not it.
Hunter shirt.
It's my joke.
Spike. Yeah, right after this, I'm just gonna scurry out of here. I want to get over to baseball.
The bike's good enough to
Yeah. What?
I've been on like long, so I'm doing back to the
Feels clear that it's already set.
I am. I think there's a that has washer.
What's that?
It's going on.
Right on.
Job isn't its job, it's a job. Intention.
It's both. I think I'm thinking May 20th. Actually, I have a better date now. Because I got Michigan baseball until the 22nd, I think.
We on any calls for the team?
All of the speed standpoints. So I honestly just do it for reps, but Kurt asked me if I could be the audio over the visual. I said, yeah. So I wanted to do more games. I don't mind. I wanted to get practice of doing baseball alone. I'll be doing it also. Looks like May 22nd, so I'll head out. Well, I'm going to Sweden until the 18th. My girlfriend's mom is on a sabbatical, so she wants us to go visit. So I've never been overseas. That's nice. You've been over, yeah, just once. Oh, just once. Croatia.
Possibly.
Well, the EO got me. The EO got me. Croatia, Bosnia. She said you got family over there, right?
I do have family. Like the close families here. What game do you think we're gonna do that is
Stayed.
probably a noon kickoff most likely.
No, we'll try and get that at night. They'd probably rather do Penn State at noon. The Penn State game will probably be a big game division. And then Michigan State will probably be a night game. They just all who ends up getting the rights. We don't know yet.
That's the deal. Maize and it's in bigger.
I had a meeting yesterday. It's not gonna happen.
It's in
No, it wasn't even Ward. I mean, maybe it was. I didn't get to talk to Ward. I just talked to his disciples. But yeah, bummer. He does not look good, bro.
No. It's cold out there. To get that
Yeah.
on.
Free agent quarterback, free agent receivers. They can't throw, they can't catch. It's in the name, free agent.
And he's got maybe a year or two ahead of the front. bench, but he was just this kid from
Like he's right around the age where it's like, would you rather Cam or Kaepernick? Damn.
those last two deep throws. Pretty good. Guys. This was not like this was like legit game full on. It's not like I went to Michigan State's spring game last year to cover the team people. That was more of like a practice, and then they get a little scrimmage.
That's what it was like until last year. Last year's the first time we did those.
I kind of like that. It's more like a lot of practice, but I think they're trying to create it more like an event where it's also like TV belts. You give those like people at the bottom of the depth chart more of a chance.
Yeah.
I'm just running out of stuff to say to like.
No, it's really just battle for scholarships at this point.
Yeah. Well, like you talk what about like looking to the season? We can just recap last season against the games. So they got them for free. You think there's 30,000 people in here?
That was a complete guess.
I was like,
If you think about it, yeah, no, it's not true. There's no way.
I mean, at least 15. For sure. I saw him being here as graduation.
Yeah. What, mid-May?
Maybe 30.
Ooh.
And for me, I looked at, I mean, when we going to Boston this week, I'm trying to look at all my homework stuff done. So I'm really jumping into homework in Boston. And I'm just like, oh my God, these next couple of weeks are going to be the camp stuff classes and just this and that.
All right, before we use our listeners, should probably go live for
Well, we had more than that at one point. Are you ready? Welcome back in, everybody. Halftime just about to get restarted as the Maize team has just retaken the field following Colin Kaepernick's throwing clinic, where he had a couple of different free agent wide receivers running routes for him as a help for Kaepernick's documentary that will be coming out at some point later in 2022. As of now, for Michigan, the blue team leads the Maize 7-6, and it was a dominating offensive half for the Maize. However, they still trail by 1 on the scoreboard. They had a touchdown reviewed and reversed by Cornelius Johnson, and 2 field goals by Rhett Anderson, and a touchdown for the blue team, Tavier Dunlap. It's been a good game so far. We're very excited here for the second half. Amir, we've talked about a couple of our studs so far today, but let's just say there's a couple guys we didn't get to see all that much of. A lot of the ones. Who would you have liked to see a little bit more out of that perhaps was a question mark coming into this year?
I would have liked to seen a little bit more of Angel Anthony. Get some reps to him. Because I really do feel like he could have a fantastic sophomore campaign. You know, he had a breakout game in Lansing this year. I just go back to that first quarter. It was 3rd down, Michigan deep in their own zone, and McNamara just throws it out to Angel Anthony, and he just turns on the jets, man. He just turned on the jets, puts it in the end zone. So he's one of those type of players that I feel like could really take that next step. I would have loved to see a little bit more action from Angel Anthony. But both teams, they really did like to keep it on the ground. I know the stats don't say that as much because we've had a lot of big, deep plays in the air. But the running backs have looked really good. Donovan Edwards, Blake Corum. Those names are gonna become household names if they aren't already coming up this fall.
And I guess for me, I might as well pitch in as well. I would have liked to see a little bit more from Taylor Upshaw and even Braden McGregor. I would have liked to see them play a little bit more in this game, but we may see some action from them in the second half as they get accumulated to playing a little bit more in a game. While the blue team and the Maize team, they'll be ready to crack some helmets again. The Maize team will be kicking off to the blue as long as they end up taking the field at some point today. It seems like they've been huddling now for an hour. And you're right. I think Angel Anthony may be done for the rest of the day. We will have to see about Andrell, though, as currently it's Keyshawn Harris and Darius Clemens deep to return. Rhett Anderson to kick it away from the 35-yard line. As the wind apparently does not want this half to start either. Maybe they're waiting for the big man. Coach Jim Harbaugh makes his way all the way across the field after talking to the man in the red hat, the media man.
Media timeouts. How much have we
Your
missed
favorite.
those?
And the rumors ended up being true about Kade McNamara today, that he'd only play 2 drives for each squad. And in that time, he went 1 of 3 for 9 yards. Took 1 deep shot and missed on it by a couple. Other than that, just reading blitzes and handing the ball off to his running backs, which at that time were Donovan Edwards and Blake Corum. We still await the end of this media timeout here in the big house, and it is a brisk afternoon. It's finally making its way up to the press box, where our position is about the 35-yard line, where the Maize is about to kick off. And we look into the schedule for 2022, Amir. You mentioned it's a bit on the easier side to begin. Colorado State, Hawaii, UConn, Maryland at home before eventually heading to Iowa City on October 1st in a really tough environment in Kinnick Stadium. Michigan has not won there in some time as Rhett Anderson boots it away. It's Keyshawn Harris who makes a basket catch at the 10-yard line. It'll be 1st down and 10 for the blue team at the 25-yard line. 24 minutes left in the spring game, and it'll be quite some time until the Wolverines take the field again.
So we'll take a look at the first half of the schedule, and Iowa could potentially be like a trap game. You don't want to say it, but it could be because you look at Michigan's first couple opponents; they're all at home. It should be on the easier side, and Iowa's tough place to play, and it's a first Big Ten opponent.
From the shotgun, Bowman hands off right side. This is Dunlap. No gain on the play. He got over to the right hash before taken down by Keyshawn Bennett. 2nd down and 10.
Looking at that Iowa game, though, as well, it reminds me a lot of this past season when we were looking at Wisconsin. When Michigan was just rolling through those first 4 games, we're like, okay, this is expected. It's out of conference. They're bringing in the smaller schools. Let's see if they can go into Madison and win, where they have not won for 20 years. And they did it. And then we were still hesitant. So Iowa could be our Wisconsin game this year.
Here's a handoff right up the middle to Dunlap. He got about 3 yards before being brought down by Michael Barrett. 2nd down and 7. And I agree with that statement that the Iowa game might be a little bit like the Wisconsin last year. It's been a long time since the Wolverines had won in Madison. They went in there, they did their job. They didn't just win, they won convincingly over a Wisconsin team that had a couple of losses to ranked teams. You can name it. Notre Dame was one of those. 3rd down and 7 for the blue team. Playing between the hashes. Dunlap is the back to the right of Bowman. Bowman gets the snap, steps up to throw, and he is sacked. That's Chris Jenkins from the interior defensive line, and that'll bring up 4th down.
Jenkins getting a little bit of an extra pat from Coach Harbaugh. as he heads over to the Maize sideline, coming through, really almost untouched.
That will bring on Tommy Doman to punt it away.
It's been a busy man out there, Tommy.
No Jake Moody and no Brad Robbins today as they'll get a break. And the boot comes down to the left sideline and falls out of bounds right around the 37-yard line. And that's exactly where the official will mark it. First down and 10 for the Maize team. DJ Turner, the cornerback, was deep to return on that last one. So that's maybe a little bit notable as AJ Henning was originally the deep man for the Maize team in the first half. First down and 10, Maize team 35-yard line, moving from left to right. Davis Warren will continue as the Maize quarterback. Leon Franklin is the running back to his right. Two receivers wide to the left, one closer to the right. And one tight end, Honingford, is tight to the right side next to his tackle, Trente Jones. Warren gets the snap, blitz coming from the right side, throws incomplete. Intended for Peyton O'Leary, and coverage was Jamon Green.
So staying on the schedule topic, September, favorable month. That October schedule looks brutal for the Wolverines. You got Penn State, Michigan State. Indiana's always a toss-up. It depends on what the Hoosiers bring. But having those two games at home are going to be huge for the Wolverines. And I think Michigan State is going to be just as good, if not better, than they were this year.
They bring in a transfer from Wisconsin as Warren hands off up the middle to Franklin. About a gain of 2. It'll bring up third down and 8. Mason Graham on the stop for the blue team. Michigan State will be good again this year. They'll bring back Peyton Thorne, the quarterback. The Wisconsin transfer, Jalen Berger, after being essentially kicked off the team in Madison.
Yeah.
They'll bring back a talented receiver in Jaden Reed. They lose Naylor. And an offensive line that's pretty scary for the Spartans in Olis Lansing. Third down and 8, motion from right to left goes Danny Hughes out of the backfield. Warren looks right side. It's incomplete. He wanted Lou Hansen, the tight end. R.J. Moten, the safety, was in coverage. That'll bring up fourth down and 8. And much like the first drives in the first half, the Maize and the Blue both go 3 and out.
And, Michigan State. So that will be Mel Tucker's first real trip to the big house where we'll get to experience all of Ann Arbor, all the crowd noise. Because when he came here in 2020, there were no fans in the stands. So not that real experience. And he's 2-0 against Harbaugh. So this year, it's there are no excuses really.
Keyshawn Harris makes the fair catch at the 18-yard line. It'll be first down and 10 for the blue team. And a stacked Big Ten East that looks to be even better this year. Michigan State may be just about as good or maybe even better. Ohio State will probably be a little bit better than it was last year, although they lose 2 of their receivers. But man, do they always regenerate these receivers. And Ohio State's spread offense continues to be a threat for the Wolverines in the East.
And yeah, well, we can talk about the Wolverines as well. They won the Big Ten for the first time since 2004. They made it to the college football playoff. What is their encore this year where they are, you can consider them the top dogs. They are the defending champs of the Big Ten. How does Jim Harbaugh and Michigan respond to something where they haven't been?
Alan Bowman had flipped that last play out to the left side for Max Bredesen before he was pushed out of bounds by Jalen Perry. It'll be second down and 1 as the blue team gets back to the line of scrimmage out of the huddle. Tavier Dunlap the back to the right of Bowman. 2 receivers stacked to the left, 2 wide right. In motion goes Bredesen. Here's a handoff up the middle to Tavier Dunlap, and he is met by Benny. And Braden McGregor also in there on the stop. Gain of 2 on the play. Good enough for a blue team first down. 8:30 to play in the third quarter. 7-6 blue.
Rashawn Benny, during his recruiting cycle, was an interesting one because he originally committed to Michigan State before he decommitted and committed to the Wolverines. He could also be one of those players that could, if given the opportunity and practice and make some moves, that could move his way up the depth chart.
First down and 10. Bowman turns left, hands off Dunlap to the 30, working the hash, and he's up the field. Finally taken down at about the 32.5-yard line. TJ Guy and Khalil Mullings on the stop. Couldn't really ask for maybe a little bit more sun, but a brisk Saturday afternoon, a lot like football in early November, late October in the state of Michigan. Bowman from the shotgun, two receivers left. Starich now in motion from left to right. So now two receivers right, one left, one tight end. That's Colston Loveland. Bowman has Dunlap offset to the left, and Bowman will throw long down the right sideline for Clemens, and he will be unable to make the grab. Nice defense by DJ Turner, and man, was his press coverage last year fantastic when he got his opportunity, when Vince Gray or Jamon Green were on the sidelines.
Yeah, I love that play by DJ Turner, running up really step for step with his receiver, gets a hand in there. Good play by DJ Turner.
They wanted to go deep to Clemens again. That's the second time they've gone long for the freshman from Oregon. 3rd and 7. Starich in motion left to right again. He'll join a duo of other receivers. Now trips right. Bredesen tight end left. Dunlap the running back. Bowman looks right side. Got it complete to Bredesen. And he is met at the 36-yard line by DJ Turner. That'll bring up 4th down and 3.
How do we feel about Clemens? Do you think he'll see a lot of time in the fall?
I believe that he'll be in the mix, especially if Ronnie Bell is unable to go, which he should be ready to go in the fall, but who knows? Maybe something else happens. He tweaks his knee here or there, and Clemens should get some playing time at some point for Michigan in the fall. And I think fans are going to be very happy to see what this kid brings. He's strong, he's fast, and he's got size. Tommy Doman will punt it away. He stands at the 20. Joe Taylor will return for the Wolverines. Redshirt sophomore from Chelsea makes the catch. And they will begin from the 23. It looks like Davis Warren will stick as the quarterback.
Now looking at the final stretch of the schedule, November, it's always Ohio State. That last game, Columbus. How much extra chip on the shoulder are the Buckeyes going to have, knowing that the Wolverines ended their season 42-27 in Ann Arbor? Any early expectations for heading down to Columbus? Could we see both teams be undefeated, or what are your thoughts on that after this play? Or
it's certainly really hard to say because we don't know what injuries are going to look like. We don't know if there's going to be a significant change as Warren looks towards the right side, batted up into the air and incomplete. I think Mike Morris got a hand on it. It would have been intended for Joe Taylor. Will Johnson was over in coverage, 2nd down and 10. But there's a lot of factors that we just don't know about yet. But yes, it's very likely that these two teams could go in either undefeated or with 1 or 2 losses. Ohio State begins the season at home against Notre Dame, and Notre Dame's supposed to be pretty good this year. So it is a big we will see for that late November matchup, the Saturday following Thanksgiving. Warren hands off left side. This is Franklin. He's got some blockers. 25 cuts it up the field to the 26. He got a nice block out front by the redshirt freshman center, Raheem Anderson. Mason Graham and Nakai Hill-Green on the stop. Ball's at the 26 left hash. 3rd down and 7 for the Maize. Thank everyone for tuning in with us on this Saturday afternoon inside the Big House. 7-6 for the Blue, under 6 minutes to play in the 3rd quarter. Zach Linfield here with Amir Bektosh, bringing you coverage of the spring game. Blitz coming for the Blue team. Warren floats it out. A diving catch was not made by the depth chart running back Danny Hughes. Green was in coverage. 4th down for the Maize team. It's 4th and 7. And there has been almost nothing going on for both of these teams here in the second half.
I think they need to be remotivated about that steak dinner. What happens if they tie? They just split the steaks?
We'll go to a kickoff. 4th and 7, Red Anderson to punt it away. He's got a boot on him.
I mean, if the NFL can change their postseason rules. Why not make some?
Yeah, how do you feel about that? Only in the postseason.
I feel like if they were going to change it, they'd change it for the whole season or keep it the same.
I figured the continuity of it would be important, and they just went completely opposite.
Yeah, because if the whole reason why you're changing it is to help the game, give the other quarterback an opportunity as well, because everybody would have loved to see what Josh Allen would have done. But then you can also go on the other. I kind of like the way it was set up right now, where you win the coin toss, so what? But also your defense has to go out there and win it, because it's not like if a field goal wins the game. If you score a field goal, you still get the other team gets the ball. You have to score a touchdown. And I can go back to the old saying of defense wins championships. So while we all would have loved to see Josh Allen get that ball and see what he could have done, the Bills defense, they let their team down. So I personally liked the format of, first team to score a touchdown wins. But changing it, whatever. If they were going to change it the whole season to keep that continuity, so that way we don't have that confusion in the postseason.
On the first down play, Bowman threw incomplete. Now here's Dunlap on the second down play, breaking free into the secondary, and he's brought down at the 50. That's a nice carry by Tavier Dunlap and a good push again from the offensive line for the Blue squad. A couple of substitutions came for the Blue as now Tristan Bounds, Micah Gelb, and Connor Jones are into the game. A couple of reserve linemen. Tristan Bounds is a big-bodied tackle. And maybe they want him to put on a bit more weight in order to head into a starting role in the future for this program. From the shotgun, Alan Bowman has Dunlap to his left, two receivers left, including a tight end. Here's a handoff, Dunlap right side. Dunlap breaks through the secondary again, and TJ Guy had to come from behind and stop him at the 40. Gain of 9 yards on the play. It's second down and 1.
So since we're on the NFL topic, how about Jabril Peppers on the move again, the standout Wolverine, who was a first-round draft pick in 2017, now finding his way in the Bill Belichick system of the New England Patriots.
They had a trade today, too, with the Dolphins that happened about an hour ago where they just got Devontae Parker. Some more help for Mac Jones and the Patriots. Pistol snap for Bowman, hands off up the middle. Dunlap got the first down. Quentin Johnson made the stop, pickup of 6 yards on the play down to the 35-yard line at the right hash. And 4:10 to play here in the third quarter. Another Blue team first down, and they're creeping up on that yardage total that was such a disparity in the first half. Maize had outgained the Blue by about 100 yards, and now the Maize has 191, and the Blue has 128. Still 5 minutes difference in TOP, the time of possession. 3 receivers left, 1 right for Bowman, who drops, looks towards the end zone for Darius Clemens, and he is unable to bring it in. Tight defense by Jalen Perry, no flags. Second down and 10.
Yeah, tight defense, but Bowman just throwing over his wide receiver. Otherwise, if he takes just a little bit of power off of that, I think Clemens secures it and brings in his first touchdown.
I think we'll see a little bit more of that in comparison to last year, where the Wolverines want to take some shots downfield. They've got some good speed at receiver now. They'll get Ronnie Bell back. His first long catch of last season was a deep touchdown as the whole right side of the line went offsides and the left side of the line apparently got the memo. And this will be a false start.
What a sequence that was. As we got Donovan Edwards chirping over there.
Working the referees on that far side.
All right, give me a Donovan Edwards impersonation.
Oh, I can't do that. Tell you what, that kid's funny and he's a great athlete. They're going to wave off the flag. So it'll remain second down and 10, and the Blue team led by Coach Sharon Moore, the co-offensive coordinator and offensive line coach, and he was responsible for leading his offensive line for the Joe Moore Award, awarded to the best offensive line in 2021. So the Maize team was messing with the blue team by sending in offensive signals that were wrong, and that offset the blue team. So that's just a bit of dysfunction and fun coming from the Maize side with the blue on offense. It's 2nd down and 10. Clock standing still at 3:43 as Bowman in the shotgun receives a snap. Looks to throw, rolls out to the right side. He is sackable today, and he throws it out of bounds, incomplete.
Donovan Edwards wants an intentional grounding out there.
Third down and 10 now for the blue team. They lead it by 1, 7-6. Both teams even at 70 rushing yards. And the big difference comes at the hands of the Maize team, 121 passing to 58 for the blue. As many of the blue team members just get to relax on the sideline without their helmets and watch the rest of this game, hoping that the dinner comes their way. Bowman from the shotgun, pressure coming from his backside, throws long left to the sideline, and it's brought in. Blue touchdown. That's Darius Clemens. They finally connected with him.
So before that play, I was going to mention how if you can look at the quarterback stats that Eric All is leading in that category with 31 yards through the air up until Bowman throwing that touchdown pass for 65 yards to give him 83. Clemens able to secure his first touchdown.
Now, I'm wondering what kind of shenanigans are going on here between Blake Corum and Donovan Edwards as they have switched sides. I don't know a bigger jokester on the team than Donovan Edwards. And the kick is up and good for Tommy Doman. And now they will promptly switch back. Man, that'll be fun to watch that tandem this year, won't it?
You just love to see it how, this Michigan team is last season, and you want to see continuation into this season, has really bought into that team mentality. We saw it at the quarterback position where JJ and Kade McNamara were just switching, going back and forth. And, most people would be like, well, if you have two quarterbacks, you don't have a quarterback. Harbaugh made that work. So it's going to be interesting to see how that works out this fall. But, with Blake Corum and Donovan Edwards, I think that duo, that tandem is just going to be a continuation of this year. And, Donovan Edwards had a whole year to learn under Corum and also Hassan Haskins. And what better mentor would you want to have at the running back position than Hassan Haskins?
3 minutes, 30 seconds remaining in the third quarter. 14-6 blue leads. Iman Dennis and Joe Taylor deep to return, and that kick will go through the end zone for a touchback. A nice kick from sophomore Tommy Doman. And he will have a big responsibility on his shoulders once Jake Moody finally decides to leave college. Him and Brad Robbins both decided to come back for an extra year. They figure, why not?
Hey, I can agree with them on that mentality. Use the COVID eligibility.
Michigan was hoping they'd try and find a way to get David Ojabo to return for 2022. However, declared for the NFL draft, and unfortunately, an injury on his pro day leaves his status up in the air for the draft. I'm sure he'll still find a home somewhere as Warren hands off up the middle to Leon Franklin. Pickup of 2 or 3. Brought down by Joey Velasquez in the middle. 2nd down and 7. And a new opportunity for a new quarterback, perhaps the done day for Davis Warren. Alex Orji is in the game. The 3-star athlete plays quarterback, a 6'2", 226-pounder from Shashi, Texas. A big arm. Arm a lot similar to that of Joe Milton. And he will get a designed quarterback run on the first play, and he'll be brought down after a yard. It'll be 3rd down and 6 as Davis Warren will quickly re-enter the game. If you guys were able to hear that, that was awesome. So the call was personal foul on the tackle, according to Coach Harbaugh. So it'll bring up first down. I think it was because Coach Harbaugh does not want his quarterbacks to be brought down by the ankles, lower on the legs. So they want them to be hit up top. And the tackle on that last play was made by Nakai Hill-Green, his junior linebacker. So that'll bring up first down and 10 for the Maize, a bit of a helping hand up to the 44-yard line.
I'm sure Harbaugh would like to have that in the regular season.
Keep
Personal
his
foul.
quarterback safe.
Yes.
Two tight ends left, two receivers right. Warren fakes the handoff. He'll look long down the right sideline for a wide open receiver. He's got Walker. That's the freshman Amarion Walker. He was wide open. And if it wasn't for R.J. Moten, that would have been a touchdown for the Maize team.
Oh, yeah.
Big reception on the play. Marion Walker, a three-star, 6'4", 175-pound receiver from Louisiana. And they like this kid. He's got a lot of speed. There's still quite a few guys for the Wolverines that haven't showed up yet to practice. The early enrollees are here and they're competing today. I haven't mentioned a couple of them. Danny Hughes gets the handoff left side from Davis Warren, a pickup of 1. Ike Iowana, the big defensive tackle, and Mason Graham also in on the stop. Second down and 9. So we've seen a lot of the top guys. Will Johnson, we've mentioned Derek Moore and Keon Sabb. Tyler Morris is not active today with an injury. He is still recovering from an ACL, MCL injury that he incurred during his senior season at Nazareth Academy, where he was teammates with J.J. McCarthy before J.J. eventually went on to IMG. 1 minute to play here in the third quarter. And Warren will hand off to Hughes again. He's to the 15 and driven to the ground by Nakai Hill-Green. Couple of guys that haven't showed up quite yet. Zeke Berry, Jimmy Rolder. Scroll down the list and see Marlon Klein, a 6'6", 215-pound tight end, has not showed up yet. So the Wolverines, they love their tight ends. And with a new tight ends coach, Grant Newsome, who had a career-ending injury in 2016 at home against Wisconsin, back in a coaching role, one of the smartest minds inside Schembechler Hall. On third down and 8, 20 seconds to play in the third quarter. No sense of urgency from the Maize team, with two receivers left, 3 to the right, driving from the 15. Warren looking down the sideline in the end zone. It's incomplete. German Green just made another nice play, and it looked like that was for Peyton O'Leary for a second time.
Talk to me a little bit more about Newsome and like how he's impacted not only this team, but also on the recruiting trail.
Apparently, Grant Newsome is one of their better recruiters. He loves talking to these kids, and he's a young guy too. I believe he's only 26, 27 years old, but he had that bad injury, which has now given him essentially a limp for a long time. It was a bad leg injury. Almost had to have his leg amputated at the hospital after that game. And I was at that game as Red Anderson's kick is up, and it is good. He's 3 for 3. Score is now 14-9 in favor of Blue, but the players love this coach. And Grant Newsome's got a career for a long time in the coaching realms of college football. 4 seconds to play, third quarter, 5-point lead for the Blue team, 14-9. Seen a couple good games from a couple of different names. Alan Bowman hasn't been bad. He's been 4 of 9, 53 yards. But for the Maize, Davis Warren, 10 of 21, 153. Tavier Dunlap has come on pretty well in this game. 11 carries, 48 yards for the Blue with 1 touchdown. No one with more than 2 receptions on the Blue team is Max Bredesen. Leads in that category, 2 receptions for 13 yards. And for the Maize, A.J. Henning had 5 receptions, 32 yards. Haven't seen him in a while now, and I assume his day is done. Cornelius Johnson, 3 receptions for 43 yards, and then 2 long receptions, both for 39 yards by both Amarion Walker and Donovan Edwards. So Rhett Anderson will kick off to the Blue team. As I mentioned, only 4 ticks of the clock remaining in the third. Keyshawn Harris and Darius Clemens to return, and they will call for a fair catch. Perhaps one of the things talked about by the coaching staff before the game is no takeouts. A lot of injuries happen on special teams, especially kickoff return. First down and 10 for the Blue. Alan Bowman will stick around as the QB for the Blue team. Tavier Dunlap will be his back. Will Rolap, the wide receiver, wide to the left. Max Bredesen, the tight end, left, as Rolap now comes in an arcing motion from left to right. A quick handoff to the left side for Tavier Dunlap. He may have lost a yard on the play. Tackle made by Rayshawn Benny and Chris Jenkins. And that will end the quarter. We head to the fourth. Blue leads at 14-9 here in the Big House in Ann Arbor, Michigan. And we have 15 minutes until we have to take an unfortunate pause from football for quite some time. It'll be 5 months almost exactly until Michigan plays right here in the Big House against the Colorado State Rams of the Mountain West Conference. They have not been great in the past couple of years. They've been known historically for their rushing defense. However, as of late, that has not been the case for the Rams. And, well, Michigan basketball got the liberty to end Colorado State's basketball season, and they would like to start off Colorado State's football season with a loss as well. Right here in the Big House, September 3rd. I'd assume it'd be a noon kickoff. And, man, are we excited for the 2022 season of WCBN's coverage of Michigan football. A reminder that right after the football game today, you can head over to WCBN 2's channel and listen to the second of the doubleheader today from Ray Fisher Stadium right behind the Big House, where Michigan baseball is playing 2 against the Iowa Hawkeyes, a team that finished second in the Big Ten last year behind Nebraska. Michigan finished third. So big Big Ten implications in these games today. Michigan at 2-1 in the Big Ten for baseball, and had their game yesterday postponed due to, you guessed it, cold weather in Michigan.
Hey,
who'd figure?
It's still hockey season. Let's talk about the Michigan
Talk about hockey.
Wolverines.
How about your trip to Boston?
How about that? You make sure you guys tune in to WCBN's coverage of Michigan hockey on Thursday at 5 p.m. for their first game of the Frozen Four. Mel Pearson was in the building as we were walking up to the booth here earlier. So I think Mel Pearson's excited to be heading to Boston. And you got 2 Big Ten teams in the Frozen Four, Minnesota on the other side of the bracket if the Wolverines are able to get to the finals, which will be on Saturday at 8 p.m. puck drop.
Of course, the Final Four on today. You got a rooting interest in the Final Four now?
I'll go with North Carolina. Just kidding. Duke. Okay, so I picked Duke to win it all in our WCBN bracket. I think I'm currently tied for third.
Alan Bowman's pass incomplete, looking down the right sideline for Darius Clemens, who had the touchdown on the last Blue drive. Jalen Perry in coverage, no flag. They asked for one. That'll bring up 3rd down and 10. So you said you had Duke.
I picked.
So your bracket's still alive.
My bracket is still alive, except, okay, so my Final Four was Duke, Houston. I didn't have Kansas from the bottom half. Iowa.
You want to know what my Final Four was? A joke.
Hey, I got one of my Final Four, and my champion is still alive. So bragging rights in WCBN would be fantastic.
3rd down and 10. Bowman airing it out towards the right sideline. That's Clemens again, incomplete. Jalen Perry in coverage.
See if coach / referee Jim Harbaugh will have any say on this play.
That was a long ways away, and Perry had his arm wrapped around the waist on the far right sideline of Darius Clemens, so that's a tough call to make if you're a referee. A long way for the line judge. 4th down and 10 from the 25, and now the Maize team, they've got a chance to take a lead here. 14:50 to go in the 4th quarter. 14-9 is the lead for Blue. Deep for Maize is Joe Taylor. To kick it away is the busy man today, Tommy Doman. Both kickers have been busy. Red Anderson, Tommy Doman. Kick falls into the waiting arms of Joe Taylor at the 32-yard line, and the 33 is where they'll give him the mark. First down and 10 for the Maize. And it will be Alex Orgy playing quarterback for the Maize. He originally committed to Virginia Tech, wanted to be a Hokie, decommitted from Blacksburg, and now he's in a Michigan uniform. Big-bodied quarterback, 6'2", 226. 3-star rating. Ranked as the 50th quarterback in the country out of high school. Orgy from the shotgun will hand off to his running back, Leon Franklin. No, he'll keep it around left end. Orgy's got space to the 45. Gets a block from Amarion Walker. Orgy is out of bounds at the 44-yard line. He kept that ball and went right down the left sideline. It was a beautiful fake to Leon Franklin. He got up. He got us up in the press box, and he also got all the defenders down on the field as everyone except for poor Will Johnson was left in the dust. And look who he almost ran right into. One of the new recruiting personnel for the Wolverines and former Michigan great Denard Robinson. So how about that? A bit of memory in that case. Here's Orgy again on a quarterback draw. No gain on this one. Didn't see a lot of that out of Denard Robinson. Will Johnson came all the way from his cornerback position to finally make the stop. Second down and 10. That long rush by Orgy was for 23 yards. And here he is from the shotgun. He will hand off to Franklin this time, and Franklin will get almost nowhere. First contact came from Harrell and was finally brought down by Graham and Hood. Ball from the 44-yard line. Inside blue territory, Maize has a chance to take the lead here. 13-15 to go in the fourth quarter. And this is exactly what you'd like to see how some of these players lower on the depth chart perform in crunch time, because perhaps their time will come in a Michigan uniform. And you'd like to see if they have that clutch gene or not. Orgy from the shotgun. He'll drop the throw. Long, whipping throw down the left sideline. It's incomplete.
Man, he's got a cannon. But as pressure came, it almost feels like he rushed that throw.
Yeah, pressure came right into his face. And the Wolverines, depending on how the equipment staff decides to do things, sometimes switches up the numbers on us, and there is no 85 on the roster. So anyone, that's Matthew Harrison of the group. As Red Anderson will pooch kick this one down inside the 15, and it takes a blue team roll to the 15-yard line. So it'll be first down and 10 for the blue team with a chance to extend their lead now. And it's a 5-point lead, 14-9. So the referee just tried to explain to us that in the fourth quarter now, plays are reviewable that are judgment calls, meaning holding, pass interference. I'd like to see one of those get reviewed. Bowman hands off right side. Oh no, he threw back to the left side, and it was complete to Hunter Neff. That's a nice fake by Tavier Dunlap. It ended up being a gain of 5. Bring up second down and 5. And you mentioned it. We are right about in that territory where we are not going to know all of the names of these guys right off the top of our head. There's Matthew Harrison. He changed numbers to number 80. Hunter Neff is on the Maize team. Here's a handoff left side to Tavier Dunlap. And he picks up about 4. It'll be third down and 1. Michael Barrett on the stop. The ball will be placed on the 24-yard line. The Michigan marching band gets a bit of action here today as well, as the Maize is creeping up on outgaining the Blue by 100 yards again. Yet, as I mentioned, the Blue team leads it 14-9. Time of possession is now a whopping 6 minutes for the Maize team over the Blue. Here's a handoff right up the middle. This goes to Dunlap for a first down. He got 3, only needed 1. Tackle made by Benny and Zimmerman. The ball is now pushed up to the 27-yard line. Maize team needs a stop here as the clock continues to churn down to 11:15. Micah Gelb will grip the football and be ready to snap it back to his quarterback, Alan Bowman. Starich in motion left to right. He joins another receiver, Clemens. Bowman looking for Clemens deep down the sideline, and no one's home. A bit of miscommunication between the graduate senior and the freshman. And coverage was another freshman, Cody Jones, and now there's a flag down. And this looks to be a Coach Harbaugh penalty. There it is. Intentional grounding.
Two for two for Coach Harbaugh, huh?
Second down and 17. Blue team doing their substitutions with 10:57 to play here in the fourth quarter inside the big house. Alan Bowman from the shotgun has Nico Tabaria's first action as running back to his left. 2 receivers right, 1 left, 1 up tight end. Bowman with pressure coming to his backside. Throws right side, got it complete. Clemens, and he's brought down immediately by Jones. Back to the original line of scrimmage. It'll be 3rd down and 10. Back up to the 27-yard line. Cody Jones, 4-star athlete, playing cornerback from Germantown, Tennessee.
So for the blue team, Clemens is becoming a main target in the receiving games. He's been targeted 8 times. He has 42 yards. His longest 35-yard touchdown pass.
Here's Bowman looking left side, and that's complete to Clemens again. And he's out of bounds, tackled by Jones. So that's close to the first down marker. Ball's close to the 37, and that's a first down. They'll give it to the blue team. 10-10 to go, clock running. Ball's to the 37. They needed the 37, got the 37. Gain of 10. And most of the time they've gone to Clemens, it's been either a quick out route or it's been deep down the sideline. So you wonder if that's how they'll use him all year, or someone else more in a starting role will have that job. Here's a handoff right side to Dunlap. He breaks free into the secondary and brought down after a first down to the 48-yard line, pickup of 11. Braden McGregor came from behind to make the stop.
I think the blue team might be able to smell the grills being fired up over at Schembeckler Hall.
Charcoal.
The charcoal grills being lit up. Steaks about to hit that grill, while the burgers on the other side are already done.
The lowly hot dogs. 9:10 to go. Bowman looks left side, and it is complete to Rolap, and that's a shifty walk-on receiver who loses the ball out of bounds, but it will remain with the blue. Josh Luther made the stop. And now they will say incomplete. He did not complete the process of the catch. 2nd down and 10 for the blue. And now the blue team will decide to take a challenge with Coach Sharon Moore. And we've mentioned him already, but how about the other side? That's Coach Steve Klingscale, who came over from Kentucky a season and a half ago. Defensive passing game coordinator and DB's coach. second year now at Michigan. He had a top 30 pass defense in 2021, and for 4 consecutive years had a top 4 SEC pass defense at Kentucky. Man, is that hard to do in that conference.
Yeah, it's tough, and when you transition it to the Big Ten, it's a great thing to do. And there was a lot of buzz, to say the least, with the coaching staff this off season, and there was a lot of turnover. I mean, when you lose your defensive and offensive coordinator, most teams would most likely fold. But Michigan had coaching on staff already that they were just able to promote, which was fantastic. And I mean, we'll see how this transitions into the regular season. I still think that, just like everybody else, the biggest questions lie on the defensive side of the ball when you got to replace a lot of people. And Mike Macdonald, the system that he installed in the Wolverines, we would love to see that just be a continuation.
Clay Skill spent 5 seasons at Kentucky as their DB's coach and 1 as their passing game coordinator. Never got to the coordinator level of just straight up defensive coordinator, though. He's hoping that will be soon in the future. And the officials called down on the field as it is confirmed. 2nd down and 10. Rolap did not complete the process of the catch. Michigan, their first ever appearance in the college football playoff semifinal, lost to Georgia 34-11, who eventually went on to win it over the SEC's counterpart, Alabama. 2nd down and 10 for Bowman from the right hash. 3 receivers left, 1 right, 1 running back. Bowman looking long down the right sideline. There's Clemens again, and it's incomplete. Knocked away by Makari Page, the safety this time. Man, do they like throwing the ball deep to Darius Clemens? He's got to catch his breath.
Yeah. He's been targeted
10 times now.
Yeah. 10 times, 52 yards. But you just mentioned the CFP and how Michigan played against Georgia. If you watch replay of that game, Georgia came out really, really aggressive. Really aggressive. They came out with the trick plays, the trick play on that second touchdown. And, Michigan just, struggled to get anything going. And, there was a couple of plays where it's like, well, if they get that, it changes the whole mood of this game. But, it's a good measuring stick when you go up against the eventual national champion. And, Kirby Smart, what he has created down in Athens, Georgia, is a perennial powerhouse that's going to compete year in, year out against your Alabamas of the world.
Bowman's pass was incomplete. He wanted Tavier Dunlap out of the backfield. And that'll bring up 4th down and 10. 8:54 to go in the 4th quarter. Tommy Doman will punt it to Joe Taylor. And Doman's kick is a high arcing one that lands down at the 6, ball fumbled at the 5 and picked up by Taylor before the whistles were blown. So 5-yard line, 95 yards to go for the Maize team, and it looks like Orji will be the quarterback. $8:48 to play, 14-9. Blue over the Maize. Seen a bit more ball movement, however, in the second half from the blue team. 1 touchdown for them, 1 field goal for the Maize here in the second half. Orji from the shotgun has Danny Hughes set to his left. He looks right the whole time, throws incomplete. That is a missile that went right over the head of Taylor, incomplete. And coverage was the linebacker, Jaden Hood. 2nd down and 10 from the 5.
So with 8:44 left, the Maize team down by 5. They got 95 yards to go. And, from a coaching perspective, you love to see this. Like, for players that are so far down the depth chart, which ones can step up in, so-called crunch time.
Orji gets the snap, hands off up the middle to Hughes. Gets a good push from the O-line, and he's taken down at the 9-yard line. Pickup of 4. It's 3rd down and 6 for the Maize team.
Yeah, I'd expect the Maize team to keep the ball on the ground here. That's where they've had, most of their success in the second half.
Here's 3rd down and 6. 3 receivers split wide to the right. 1 tight end in a 3-point stance left. That's Hansen. Orgy from the shotgun has Hughes set to his left. He'll drop to throw. Look down the seam for Walker, and he missed him by about 7 or 8 steps. Keyshawn Harris was in coverage. And that'll bring up 4th down and 6, so perhaps only 1 or 2 more chances for the Maize team if the Blue does not score on this drive. It's a 5-point lead for the Blue. Just under 8 minutes to play in this ball game. Keyshawn Harris will be deep to return for the Blue team right at the Block M logo. And to kick it away for the Maize is Rhett Anderson. A soft-legged boot lands at the 48, takes a Maize bounce, and will now retreat back towards Blues territory, and Taylor will down it at the 47-yard line. So it'll be 1st down and 10 for the Blue. Not that long to go to get into the end zone, about 53 yards. 7:47 to play here in the 4th quarter. Alan Bowman will take the field as the quarterback. Other quarterbacks for the Blue team include freshman Jaden Denegal and Andy Maddox. And Denegal is currently standing directly behind Coach Sharon Moore. Bowman will hand off to Dunlap. He's got some space towards the right end, and he's brought down at the 49-yard line by Keyshawn Bennett. Pick up 4 yards on the play. It'll bring up 2nd and 6 as the clock continues to churn to 7:30. 14-9 is the Blue team's lead. Alan Bowman takes a knee inside the huddle, and they'll take their time. You got 20 seconds to work with here on the play clock. 2 tight ends in the formation, 2 receivers left. Bowman turns left, hands off to Dunlap up the middle, and he's met almost immediately by the interior defensive line and linebacking core. Jerome Nichols led the tacklers. Maybe a pickup of 1. We'll stick it 3rd and 5. Taberia, the running back in the game now. Clemens, the lone receiver to the right. He's got a shadow as a safety. Makari Page is one-on-one with him on the right side. 3 receivers left, including the tight end Bredesen. Maize shows a 6-man front. Bowman throws wide to the left side. It's complete roll-up to the 35-30, and roll-up's ripped out of bounds by Keon Sabb at the 29. First down, Blue team at the 29. $19 yards to roll-up. The junior walk-on receiver. Pretty talented walk-on receiver room. They do a lot of good work on the scout team. 14-9 Blue. Bowman turns left, hands off left to Dunlap. And in there on the tackle after a gain of about 2 or 3 yards was TJ Guy. 3 yards on the play. Second down and 7 for the Blue. They're driving at the 26-yard line. A chance to put it away with 5:20 remaining on the clock. Bowman, 5 yards in the shotgun. Here's a bit of a Philly special. Throwing it as Clemens. It's complete. Bredesen, 15-10. He's down to the 5. That's a nice designed play by Sharon Moore, and another man that's not a quarterback completing a pass. Darius Clemens this time.
There you go. Now you got Clemens and all. You got a tight end and a wide receiver that can throw the ball.
It'll be 1st and 5. Or rather, 1st down and goal. Max Bredesen, another catch. 3 receptions for 34 yards now. That's 21 on that play. He's lined up in the strong pistol to the right of Bowman. Shotgun for Dunlap. Bowman turns left side, and it is caught. Touchdown for the Blue. That's Sam Sterich. And the blue team has now a 20-9 lead.
Bowman with the hurry up offense right there, clapping way like quicker, trying to get the guys ready to go as they saw a miscommunication on the defensive side. And then they do, and
The little
blue
tunnel
team
celebration.
tunnel celebration. Donovan Edwards out there talking as usual.
He's throwing his towel as if it's a flag. And Coach Sharon Moore is trying to get the crowd hyped up for the blue team, and that's just all jokes at this point, as the referee even entered with his microphone on a bit of a chuckle. It's now 20-9 for the blue
think that
team.
was another Harbaugh call. Harbaugh.
He probably just said it. Throw the flag.
Throw
the flag.
It's okay. It's okay.
Kick is up and no good for Tommy Doman. It will remain 20-9 for the blue team in the fourth quarter, 4:33 to play. It's an Alan Bowman 5-yard pass to Sam Sterich, and the lead is now 20-9 for the blue team.
It just must be a thing about the all blue jerseys in the big house.
I know.
You think they keep it more as like bring them out for just big games?
I wouldn't doubt that, or maybe just a night game. The Wolverines wear the all blues for the first time last year in the Jordan uniforms, that is, against Washington under the lights. They then wore them against Ohio State. They wore them against Iowa in the Big Ten championship game. Or excuse me, no, they didn't. They wore the whites and the blues. Then they wore the all blues in the semifinal.
Yeah, hopefully we get to see the all Maize next year. We could have saw them at Happy Valley, but Penn State elected not to let us do that.
Now, I read into a little story about the basketball team as Doman's kick will come down to Taylor as a fair catch. The basketball team, they decided to wear all maize when they went to Penn State, and apparently that was a very, very, very subtle jab at the Penn State football program. So the Wolverine basketball team would be the program to wear all maize in Happy Valley.
I would say maybe we could see him in Iowa, but not really because Iowa also has their yellow in their jerseys. I mean, looking at the road games, maybe when they go to Ohio State, do you think they would go all maize or all white at Ohio State?
They'll probably go with the white jerseys and blue pants. That's my guess.
Your personal opinion, what would you love to see?
I like the white and the blue. I like the blue pants. Here's Orgy on a direct handoff, a quarterback keeper on the left end. And he's tackled out of bounds by Andrew Russell. Up to the 48-yard line. That's a pickup of 8. 2nd down and 2 for the Maize team. Clock continuing to move. 4:15 remaining here in the fourth quarter and in the spring game. And that easily could have been an extra Coach Harbaugh tackling him low flag as Andrew Russell made the stop. Former lacrosse player. Orgy from the shotgun. Franklin to his left. 2 receivers to each side. A quick throw left, incomplete, intended for Walker. And man, that had some mustard behind it.
Yeah, he can zip the ball really. And there's a lot of firepower, and that's something that you can't teach. You can teach how a guy to be a little more accurate and be able to read plays, but how strong the arm is, that's just a God-given talent and also what you work on in the gym.
Third down and 2 for the Maize team. Substitutions being made. 10 seconds on the play clock. Orgy hands off up the middle to Franklin, and he will drive his way for a first down inside blue territory. Pickup of 3 on the play. Tackled by Moore. First down for the Maize, and if they want a chance at those stakes, they're going to have to start moving a little bit faster.
Yeah, there's no really sense of urgency from the Maize team, so I guess maybe they favor burgers instead over a steak.
Orgy has 3 receivers to the right now, sends one in motion left. Taylor will now return back to the right. Hand off left side. This is Hughes to the 45. Runs into contact and drives his way down to the 42-yard line before Christian Boyven makes the stop. The running back converted linebacker put on about 30 pounds in the offseason to make this conversion, and he'll look to have some kind of action in the fall. 2nd and 3, Orji shotgun. Will ride the handoff, and he'll keep it around right end. He'll work his way to the sideline, grabs the 40, grabs the sideline, and he's out of bounds after the first down. And there's a late flag, and I think it will come on late contact as Mike Sainristil urges on the officials on the far side. Under 3 minutes to play here in the fourth quarter. Score is 20-9 in favor of the blue team. And again, for everyone still tuning in with us, of course, we're very excited for 2022. It's WCBN's coverage here of the spring game in Ann Arbor. A 20-9 lead for the blue team over the Maize team. Kade McNamara, a very short appearance. No J.J. McCarthy today. A little bit of Blake Corum, 7 carries, 40 yards. He was pretty efficient today. That's good for 5.7 yards a carry. Here's a handoff up the middle. Danny Hughes, he breaks away from a tackler, and he makes his way down to the 17-yard line. Bring up 2nd and 2 for the Maize. And a slight more urgency for the Maize team now. 2:40 to play in this ball game. 11-point lead for the blue. 3 receivers left, 1 right. Danny Hughes, the running back to the left. Here's a handoff. Hughes trying to split 2 defenders. He cannot do so. Tackle made by Velasquez. It will remain 3rd down and 2. From the right hash, the Maize team will split 1 wide receiver who now comes into a bunch left and 1 lone receiver to the right. Orji hands off to Franklin to the 15, gets an extra push from his O-line. I don't think he got there, though. He needed the 14. He got to the 15. 1:47 to play, and I think you can pretty much put a bow on this one. 1:40 to play, 4th down and 1. I had a lot of fun watching Khalil Mullings earlier. I just say throw him in the game, let him be the quarterback, and just let him run it.
Yeah.
Orji alone in the shotgun. 3 left, 2 to the right. He'll get the snap, and he will be brought down after a gain of 2. Man, he got up the field after pretty much being grabbed by the face mask from a a blue defender. And that is a 1st down for Orji, 1:08 to play.
Yeah, that's that second opportunity, the extension there late. It helped Orji get it.
Doesn't have the speed of Denard Robinson, doesn't quite have the strength of Joe Milton at quarterback, but he seems to be a bit of a mixture of both if he can settle down the arm. Orji looking towards the end zone, incomplete, intended for Taylor. Morant was in coverage for the blue. Second down and 10 for the Maize team. One receiver split wide left, 2 to the right. A tight end and a 3-point stance left. That's Hansen. Orji has a running back left. He throws across the middle. It's complete to Taylor. Did it bounce out? No, it did not. He made the catch. Right down at about the 5-yard line.
Impressive that Taylor was able to hold on to that one as he was as he was getting hit. It didn't really seem like he secured the ball, but he comes down with it, puts the Maize team right on the 5-yard line. But they still need a yard to get the fresh set of downs.
20-9 is the lead for the blue. 51 seconds remaining in this ball game at 3rd down and 1. The Maize use their first timeout. as the crowd slowly starts to disappear from the big house. We'll say so long to Michigan Stadium until September 3rd. Well, for you, Amir, happy graduation on the 30th of this month.
Thank you. Thank you.
You guys got to deal with me for a whole nother year. Orgy, direct snap right up the middle. And he didn't get there. The ball is free and it's going the other way, but it's called dead at the 6. As Jaden Hood had nothing but open field in front of him. Maize team will use a timeout, and they'll have 4th down and 2 in front of them.
Yeah, you know, next year's going to be a lot of fun. I'm sure me and you will be on plenty of broadcasts. We're also going to have some new fresh blood in the broadcast booth with us. It's going to be fun. You know, WCBN, we've done great coverage. We look forward to building off of the momentum of this past season and hopefully covering all the Michigan football games as well as all the other sports of soccer, lacrosse. But we still got to finish out this year, as you're going to be heading out to the baseball games here shortly. Then we got hockey coming up on Thursday, 5 p.m. Joshua Tenzer and I will be heading out to TD Garden to cover Michigan's trip to the Frozen Four.
Rhett Anderson's kick is up and good. The now score is 20-12, so perhaps an onside kick and then 37 seconds to play, but you're right. You're heading out to Boston for the Frozen Four, and hopefully Michigan can bring one home. Be a lot of fun to see the hockey team bring home a national championship to Ann Arbor.
How about Michigan athletics this season? How great.
So here's the deal. 37 seconds to play. 4th quarter, blue team leads 20-12. The rule here, instead of an onside kick, is 3rd down and 10 from the 35-yard line for the Maize team. So they will get a chance to convert on 4th down and 10. So the blue team will have to bring out a defense here. And they'll have to face off against whoever will be the quarterback, and it will be Davis Warren. So here we go. I guess the Maize team still technically does have a chance with one timeout. 4th and 10, 37 seconds to play, 20-12 is the blue team's score over the Maize. Maize has still outgained the blue by about 50 yards, 302 to 249, albeit the score being an 8-point disparity, the blue in front of the Maize. And there's a whistle down on the near side, and no matter what the sport, no matter what the occasion, there will always be a 30-minute last singular minute.
Yeah.
So Sharon Moore uses his second timeout. Both teams have one remaining. That last Maize drive, 13 plays, 69 yards, 3:56 off the clock to cut the deficit to 8 with 37 seconds to play. That'll be a quick trip over to Ray Fisher Stadium for me. Right after this game ends. I'll tell you what, Eric Backage's squad for baseball is fun to watch, regardless of where they're from. I love their phrase of, can't get hot if you don't know the cold, which is true.
Yeah. Couldn't have said it better myself.
So I kind of like this little rule that Coach Harbaugh's playing here. 4th down and 10, 37 seconds to play. Warren, the quarterback, 3 receivers left, 1 right. Franklin is the back to the right of Warren. He drops to throw. Looking left side, got it complete. That'll be a 1st down, and the Maize team will have to move quickly.
We could potentially see a tie. Who knows?
And man, we can still not figure out who number 85 is. The roster they gave us. And that's probably who it is. Christian Dixon, the public address announcer, saying probably 85. Warren looks long towards the right sideline. It is cut up the field by Peyton O'Leary. He got the 1st down. So I thought that was a questionable decision to stay in bounds, but he still got the 1st down. 22 seconds to play. 1st down for the Maize. And all of a sudden, this just got interesting. Clock just begins running. Warren, 3 receivers left, 1 right, steps up in the pocket. Pressure coming behind him. He is sacked. Ball on the ground, and it goes to the Maize team. They only have 1 timeout, and they'll call it. And Jalen Harrell, who knocked the ball free, will promptly celebrate. So now danger territory for the Maize, as if it wasn't already. It'll be second down and what? Second down and about 20?
Yeah, give or take a couple of yards. 13 seconds though, like second and 19. So 13 seconds, you could realistically get 2 plays off. First play has to be,
It's got to be
shoot the
short.
sidelines short, and then it's just throw it into the end zone and hope for the best.
The blue team on the near sideline, trying to hype themselves up before perhaps the final play of the spring game. Warren looking towards the left sideline. It is complete to O'Leary, and he will spin out of bounds. He reaches, but the clock continues to run, and that will be game over. And the blue team rushes the field. That's it. No time left. Apparently, Peyton O'Leary did not get out of bounds in time. And the blue team goes straight over to the Maize team, and they will celebrate. And that's what the sportsmanship between these two inter-squad teams is all about. The final score of today's game, the blue team 20 and the Maize team 12. Oh, Amir, not much of a post game to do, but someone that impressed you.
There was a couple. That second half, Clemens, he was targeted a lot, and I'll go with the wide receivers that are dual threats that can also throw the ball. So I'll give it to Clemens and Eric All. They were impressive. This team, there's the defense. There's still the questions that we have yet to be answered, but it looks like it's going to be promising.
Michigan will head to September 3rd right here inside the Big House. WCBN will be on the call for that game as they will try to defend their title as the Big Ten East and Big Ten champions. 20-12 is the final score between the blue team and the Maize team. Signing off for the final time in the spring. Zach Linfield here, Amir Bakhtash to my left. Amir, happy graduation and good luck on Thursday.
Thank you, sir.
For hockey.
Make sure you guys tune in to WCBN's coverage of Michigan hockey on Thursday, but more importantly, turn into baseball as Zach Linfield is going to sprint over from the Big House to the baseball field.
Good night, everybody. And as always, go blue.